impeccable, but that was never in doubt. Always remember being here 2012. It was ahead of a game against Newcastle United, and it was a wonderful moving tribute on that particular night when there was a girl in blue of Everton with the number 6, a boy in the red of Liverpool with then the girl with the Everton number 9, the boy in the red of the Liverpool with the number 6. Of course, it's 97 lives that were lost and never forgotten as we're about to get underway. But that support between the two clubs, that bond, brothers in arms, Pat Nevin.
Yeah, especially in this day, among all the others. Yeah, it's a fierce rivalry in many other ways, but as you say, that was never in doubt. It was very moving, and it would be very hurtful if it was anything else for those of us who were around at the time. Absolutely.
Pat Nevin, who spent 4 years at Goodison Park between 1988 and 1992. So, underway on BBC Radio 5 Live. Everton in their royal blue shirts and white shorts are playing from left to right as we look. They're attacking the park end of the ground. And for Fulham in their white shirts and black shorts, it's the Gladys Street end that they're attacking. And up until their last visit to Goodison Park, they had a truly atrocious record. Before 2021, they'd failed to win any of their first 27 games at this famous old stadium. They'd drawn 4 and they'd lost 23 before that 2-0 victory in February 21. As Ream plays the ball inside and Tosin goes back. Half-time in the Women's Six Nations, Wales, England, Claire Thomas.
The Red Roses are up and running at Cardiff and have now put 19 unanswered points on second place Wales. Tries from Lisa Packer, Tatiana Hurd and a perler from Abby Dow have seen them roar into life. Wales with plenty to ponder at the break and trail 3 points to 19.
Second half will be on Sports Extra. Tete is forward, already giving you the two teams. It's his cross on the run in towards the penalty area, bounces out left-hand side of the penalty box to William, plays it towards Robinson, hits it in low for clearance, and then it's played back by James to Paulinho. Reed back to Tosin. Marco Silva making his return to Goodison Park today, first time back, but of course he's serving the second of a 2-match ban, as the cross from James is a very deep one. It'll be kept in play though by Harry Wilson, booed because of his Liverpool connections. He never actually played in a Merseyside derby, did the former Liverpool player, as it's claimed by Jordan Pickford. Pat Nevin.
Do you know, there's not a spare seat around here, and considering the tough times that Everton are having, they've got huge support behind them. But I'll tell you what, it's a tense place as well. They know that there's not a lot of goals on their side, and if they lose a goal at any point in time, there'll be even more fear around Goodison Park.
Well, they are actually the lowest scorers in the Premier League with just 23. There was talk that Calvert-Lewin might have been back today, but he doesn't even feature, not even on the bench. He hasn't played now any of the last 10 games, if you include this one, since early February with that hamstring injury. As Michael Keane hits a long searching ball, Iwobi heads it into the path of Damari Gray, and Iwobi then comes infield right corner of the area but plays it too far ahead of Godfrey, and there was Ream, who was very alert to clear for Fulham all the way to Tarkowski. 3 minutes played then in the sunshine here at Goodison Park. Sean Dyche in his suit down below. Indeed, he was at Hillsborough that fateful day 34 years ago. He was with the Forest youth side, and in his programme notes he just says, too painful for the words to describe, but his thoughts are with the families affected, and that is certainly echoed throughout, not just from everybody at 5 Live, but I'm sure throughout the footballing community. As we go racing, one of many races ahead of the Grand National at 5:15. It's the novices hurdle, and here's John Hunt.
Yes, a Grade 1 race as well, and Rachel Blackmore has just taken a bad fall on Cool Survivor. Rachel, of course, is to ride Ain't That a Shame in the Grand National. That was a heavy fall. We'll report back on that later on. Paul Townend also had a fall on Dark Raven. But to the race itself, Ian, Irish Point and Davy Russell has just struck the front. He's chased by Hermes Allen and Katera, who's also getting up ahead of steam. They're onto the run-in now. It is Irish Point who's out in front. Katera has gone second, then Hermes Allen back in third place. And Irish Point driven right out by 42-year-old Davy Russell. He had a Grade 1 winner early in the week. Here's another one, and he'll ride Galvin in the Grand National in what may well be his last ever Grand National as well. Irish Point is home. We'll report back on the well-being of jockeys Paul Townend and Rachel Blackmore when we get an opportunity to, Ian.
Thanks, John. Fulham have lost the ball, and the shot then from Damari Gray was saved by Bernd Leno, moving down towards his left-hand post. A couple of goals to tell you about whilst we've been away. Stevenage are leading Wimbledon. Stevenage without a win in 5 at the top of League 2, leading Wimbledon by a 1-0. Blackpool against Wigan will go there in a minute after I've told you Crewe 1, Walsall 0, Bristol Rovers 0, Derby County 1. I mentioned Blackpool against Wigan. It's in the Championship. Ellen Ellard.
Yeah, Blackpool 1, Wigan 0. Jerry Yates back in the squad after injury, and he has made an instant impact. A low-driven shot diagonally across the face of goal into the back of that. He has made an instant impact for Stephen Dobby's side in what could be a huge, important goal at this bottom of the table clash. Blackpool 1, Wigan 0.
Straight to Rangers. Penalty, Roddy Forsyth.
And penalty for Rangers. James Tavernier, who scored one against Celtic last week, giving himself his 100th goal for Rangers. This will be his 102nd if he can convert it against St Mirren. Does his little run up. Oh, the keeper gets it and beats it away. St Mirren survives, still scoreless here at Ibrox.
Mikolenko with an early cross in towards the penalty area, and cleared away by Fulham. Remains 0-0 at Ibrox. Earlier Hibs beat Hearts in the Edinburgh Derby by 1-0. Pat Nevin, what have you made of the opening 6 minutes? 0-0 here.
Actually, a very good start right at the start from Fulham, but Everton have grown into real confidence. Like, look at James Garner, centre midfielder, always want the ball taken off his centre backs as well, and that little move down the left hand side, showing the importance of the 4-4-2, because it is a 4-4-2 that Everton are playing just now, with the two players, Maupay and Damari Gray up front. Very positive. I think the manager knows he needs 3 points today.
Yes, it's been 27 points from 30 is their fewest of any Premier League season. And this is, of course, a football club that is competing in its 69th successive season in the top flight of English football. They had a narrow escape last year, and once again they are more than flirting with relegation this time of the year once again. Forest Green, of course, well, they're in real peril at the bottom of League One. They're at home to Barnsley. There's been a goal. Sahel Sahi.
And it's got worse. They're trailing at home to Barnsley, Ian, by 1-0 after 8 minutes. Straight forward from a corner kick. And Slobodan Tedic was there 8 yards away. Forest Green are going down as it stands. They're losing to Barnsley by 1-0.
Yeah, managed by a former Everton favourite, Big Duncan Ferguson. Just 1 win in 20. But in that maybe possibly passing them, and that's not easy to say, is Bradford City, because they still harbour hopes of automatic promotion, and they've just taken the lead at Scotland. Mark Hughes' side. Rochdale 0, Bradford City 1. Pat, free kick to Fulham.
Yeah, just a little tackle on the midfielder. Mikolenko goes over. Yes, it's a free kick. The referee thought about going to his pocket, then changed his mind there. Mikolenko gave it away because he went with his left foot, should have tackled with his right. It's not that dangerous an area, but if you're an Everton fan, everything in your half is a dangerous area.
So Pereira to take it just outside the centre circle. Quite a high line from Everton's Royal Blue shirts. Pereira hits it long, and so long, one bounce and it's out of play for a goal kick. You look at Sean Dyche and his record. He's won 3 of 10 in the Premier League since he was appointed. Everton previously had only won 3 out of 20 under Frank Lampard, so there has been an improvement since he took charge.
Well, I did a lot about the percentages and of points available at the start of the season. Frank Lampard was 18.8%, I believe, whereas Dyche 40%. Quite an improvement.
It was a year ago I was informed that he lost his job at Burnley. And he had to bide his time to bounce back into the game. 7th change of manager under Mashiri, and Sean Dyche hoping to keep Everton, just like Lampard did last season, in the top flight. But Fulham are attacking, and it's with Wilson drifting in field, just shy of 30 yards out from goal. Plays the ball out to Tete. Little flick down the right side of the area for Reid to run onto, Harrison Reid. Tete plays it back towards Harrison Reid. And then he plays it infield towards Paulinho. Diagonal ball back out towards that right touchline for Reid, keeping the ball very, very well. And now Wilson strokes it along the ground, laid off by Anthony Robinson, and then Reid passes it out towards Willian. And Fulham are threatening here. Just outside the penalty area, Willen's shot though straight at Pickford, and there's been a goal at Portman Road. League One, Martin Fisher.
No great surprise in that Ipswich have hit the front early. No great surprise earlier that the goal scorer is Connor Chaplin, his 20th in the league this season, and he's 4th in the last 4. Ipswich 1, Charlton 0.
And elsewhere it's Oxford United 0, Bolton 1. Watford are leading in the Championship at home to Bristol City. Watford without a win in 4. Crawley 0, Tranmere 1 is a latest score, and you're up to date with the goals as they go in on BBC Radio 5 Live. 10 minutes played, 0-0 here, as Dan James, one of 3 changes that Marco Silva has made, picks up the ball, spins inside. Behind him is Willian. Anthony Robinson on the overlap, not required. Ball then towards Harrison Reid. Dispossessed, was he? Well, he was. The referee says no free kick. Paulinho picks it up. And this is Pereira, and taken off his toes by McNeil, and then they clear long towards Damari Gray, and it's hooked away by Tosin as we go to Chelsea and John Southall.
Chelsea 0, Brighton 0, but 3 Brighton chances in the opening 8 minutes of the game. 2 of them to McAllister, the first to the near post stretching, put it into the side netting. The second left of the area, put it past the right post, and Evan Ferguson's hit the bar. Chelsea 0, Brighton 0.
Fleetwood are ahead at Accrington by a 1-0. Wimbledon have equalised at Stevenage. It's now 1-1 at Broadhall Way. And Coventry City in the Championship are leading at struggling Queen's Park Rangers. Only 1 win in 18 for QPR, and Coventry are ahead in West London. 11 minutes played. Pat Nevin.
Yeah, just a moment ago there, Gade did some great tackling in midfield. The referee didn't give a free kick, although Fulham were expecting it. But then Gade just stopped because he wanted a free kick. You don't stop, it doesn't matter. And it nearly led to a little chance there, and just down in the byline there, the first signs of any anger at all from Sean Dyche, because he was furious that his player, don't stop, you must keep on going, because the referee won't change his mind there.
Referee Anthony Taylor as Godfrey, who's switched from left back to right back with Coleman's hamstring injury. Mikolenko coming into the side, so Godfrey now playing on this near side as he tries to feed it into the path of Iwobi. It goes away from Iwobi and out for a goal kick. Lincoln are leading at Sincil Bank in League One at home to Port Vale. Lincoln 1, Port Vale 0. Remember, Tottenham Bournemouth, a delayed kick-off, not underway until 3:15. We've heard from Chelsea at home to Brighton. What about Southampton and Crystal Palace? Jonathan O'Brien.
It's 0-0, 12 minutes played, short on quality. Southampton with more of the ball in the early stages and the best chance of the half so far. Cleverly worked near post free kick routine, and it ended up at the feet of Joe Aribo, recalled today, and his crisp shot just over. Southampton 0, Palace 0.
Southampton, of course, bottom of the table. What are they, 4 points adrift? Crystal Palace, you'd think, would be safe. Roy Hodgson making an immediate impact as Fulham are attacking, looking themselves to get back to winning ways. As James, he gives the ball away deep inside the Everton half, straight to Gay, and cleared by Michael Keane. Wolves, of course, well, they are still looking over their shoulder. They're at home to Brentford. Pat Murphy.
It's goalless. They are the better side. They're matching Brentford for physicality and not giving away any silly free kicks 30 yards out. Brilliant piece of work. Lamina, glorious volley, tipped over by Brentford's Rea. Wolves 0, Brentford 0.
In the early games today, Aston Villa beat Newcastle United by 3-0, a 5th straight win for Unai Emery's side. Sheffield United 8 points clear of that second automatic promotion spot after beating Cardiff City by 4-1, and we've already mentioned that Hibs and Hearts finished 1-0 in the Edinburgh derby. I'll give you the 2 early results from League One after we've heard from Stamford Bridge and John Southall where there's been a goal.
They have a goal. Chelsea 1, Brighton 0. The 6-hour drought is over. Conor Gallagher with a shot from the edge of the penalty area took a big deflection. The keeper was scrambling back, but it looped over him and into the net. Chelsea 1, Brighton 0.
Exeter 0, Plymouth 1 in that Devon derby, and Cambridge United beat Peterborough 2-0. Also in a derby game at the Abbey Stadium. 4 unbeaten now, Mark Bonner's side. MK Dons 0, Cheltenham 1 is a latest score in League One. You're up to date, Pat.
We could do a deflected goal here. It's went a little bit quiet, hasn't it? You're looking for someone to add a little bit of spark to the game. There doesn't seem anyone at the moment. A little bit of pace from James up front, but we'll see if Everton can do something now. Left hand side.
McNeil gets the cross blocked by Tete. It's another change. He has come in for Cedric Suarez, and he's given away a free kick.
Well, this is big moments, really, because when you look at the lack of firepower and goal scorers there are in that Everton side, we all know that they're good from set pieces. We all know that Sean Dyche's teams are always good at set pieces, and this is exactly the position they want. They've got the likes of Mikolenko that can put a good ball in there. Not sure he's the one, he's stepped away from it, but this is a chance for the big guns from the back to come up and have a go at it.
And they certainly have. Tarkowski and Keane, Godfrey, Mopé and Damari Gray are also in there, so only 5 royal blue shirts to aim for in that penalty area. Fulham, meanwhile, have got everybody back bar James, who just stands inside the D. So it's going to be a free kick to Everton, far side the left, fired in low and prevented from reaching Damari Gray. From a stretching Harry Wilson behind, it goes for a corner kick.
Well, we're all expecting a high one for them to attack, so he zips it low along the ground, but as well taken out there. But it's corner kick, another chance to get a set piece in there.
Corner kick, far side the left. Everton are playing from left to right. Blue skies, bright sunshine here on Merseyside. 15 minutes in, corner from the left, in it comes now, and it's headed out by Tosin, back to where it came from on that far side. The little touch by Garner, blocked there from McNeil, and then it's played back in by Garner just as everybody was retreating, but Tosin climbs to head the ball away. There's been a goal in League Two, one of our featured games. It involves the leaders, Leyton Orient, Lee Blakeman.
Leaders ahead, Sutton 0, Leyton Orient 1. Kieran Sadler, free kick, 30 yards out, hit the bar, hit the keeper on his back, went in. Orient doing their bit, leading Sutton 1-0.
But there were a number of permutations that had to go with that. They had to win, and Stockport and Carlisle had to fail to win, and Bradford City had to lose. Well, Bradford are already ahead at Rochdale by a 1-0, so maybe their promotion will be on hold for Richie Welland's side. Millwall are leading Preston by 1-0 without a win or a goal in their last 4 games, but Tom Bradshaw has scored inside 14 minutes, and Ipswich Town have got a second goal at home to Charlton in League One. Details from it, Martin Fisher.
It's another one for Connor Chaplin, Ian. It's 2-0 now, set up here brilliantly by the Welsh international Broadhead. Ipswich are on fire, 2-0.
Thank you, Martin. BBC Radio 5 Live. 16.5 minutes in here at Goodison Park for an Everton side that is only outside of the relegation zone on goal difference. Garner holds on to the ball and then lays it forward. Mopé with a layoff. McNeil has drifted infield, creates the space for Mikolenko at left back. Back towards Garner once again. Time to measure the cross. Diagonal ball headed out by Ream with his blonde ponytail inside that penalty area. Everton trying to force Fulham back, and it goes out of play.
You know, it's surprising to say the player who was most likely to put one on a plate for his teammate in the entire ground here, Fulham or Everton, is Garner. You know, and so few chances he's had to start so far, but he's very comfortable on the ball in the centre of midfield. They're holding it all the time, and actually he's been asked to take the free kicks and corner kicks as well for Everton. So for a player that doesn't get much match time, a lot being asked of him today.
Yeah, he was also on the front of the match day programme as well today. As the ball goes back towards Pickford. Pickford took that so high on his chest.
I thought it was going to go over his head. That was a terrible pass back there. He's trying to look kind of calm and casual about it, but I'll tell you what, his heart must have stopped.
Here is Pereira. Robinson coming forward from a left back, and it's an attacking run too. Tarkowski's ball clearance. Wilson didn't strike it cleanly enough. First time left-footed straight at Pickford. That was a real chance for Fulham.
You know, he's got to just do it with the right foot. He brought his left foot over there. That's a right-footed clearance. Just put your foot through it. Try to do the clever things. Come off the side of your foot, and it's given a great chance, probably the best chance so far to Fulham. And that's the sort of thing that Dyche works really hard on. Don't give easy chances away when the opposition haven't worked for it. Bit shaky at the moment, Everton at the back.
Another long ball pumped forward downfield. James, though, was beaten in the air by Tarkowski. Hartlepool United, you know, are unbeaten since John Askey took charge. They've only won 2, but they've drawn 6. But still, nevertheless, unbeaten in 8 games. However, they're behind in South Wales. Newport County 1, Hartlepool United 0 is the latest score in League 2. As Keane strokes the ball across to Tarkowski. And they're finally now underway in that delayed game in the Premier League. Henry Moran at Tottenham.
Yeah, 2 minutes gone. Spurs 0, Bournemouth 0. Bournemouth arriving late at the ground, so the delayed kick-off. Spurs looking to try and take a little bit of advantage after Newcastle dropped those points at Aston Villa. Real buzz around the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Goalless.
Tottenham unbeaten in 5. They'll look to try and put a little bit of pressure on Newcastle United after that defeat at Villa Park by 3-0 that brought Eddie Howe's side that winning run coming to an end as the ball headed away by Mikalenko. Tete goes into a 50-50 and it just falls in favour of the white shirts of Fulham as Pereira switches play to this near side the left. Anthony Robinson to Willian midway through the Everton half, and Robinson, who well, he was sold to from Everton to Wigan in 2019 after coming through the youth system. Never actually played for the first team, Anthony Robinson. As it comes out to this near side the left, Willian controls it, hooks it in high into the penalty area. Tarkowski header out, controlled by Pereira with his back to goal. Robinson off his right foot shifts it to Willian, forward to Pereira left hand side with the cutback. Stretching was Tarkowski inside his 6-yard area, and behind it goes for a corner kick, and Fulham are threatening again.
Yeah, and Tarkowski this time does the right thing, goes his right foot, just clears it, puts it out anywhere. It doesn't matter, you don't want to take chances, especially if Everton looked a little bit, you know, that pass back I had a few minutes ago, they almost cleared Pickford's head, and then the very, very poor clearance before, I think it was Tarkowski again, led to half a chance, and now corner kick.
There is a nervousness around Goodison Park. Willian with the corner, pinged out to Pereira. Pereira then tees up a right-footed effort himself from the edge of the D, just off target, goal kick, 0-0.
Pickford was nowhere near it. He was completely flat-footed. Not really his fault because it's come through a whole bunch of players there. But good corner kick there. Everybody went and left one player out on the 18-yard line. He got to not a lot of power, but it doesn't matter if it's in the corner. However, it was just past the corner of the post.
I think Pickford, after what was it, his 9 saves that he made against Manchester United last weekend, he'll be hoping for a quieter afternoon here in the sunshine at Goodison. But Marco Silva, who 53 Premier League games when he was the Everton manager, he only had the 1 full season and they finished 8th. Boy, would they like a return to those days. But he's never actually beaten Everton as a manager. Drawn 1 and lost 2. Wolves Brentford, the latest from Pat Murphy.
0-0. Wolves playing well, but they're not creating much at the moment. Just as I speak, half chance there for Brentford, but is deflected over the bar. At the other end, Costa, great work, created half a chance. Left foot, low save by Rea. It's a good game. Wolves 0, Brentford 0.
Fulham have just taken the lead with Harrison Reed, and the goal that has been threatening has arrived. It was Wilson with a shot left-footed, cannon back off the post, straight to Reed, and then finds the bottom right-hand corner. Everton 0, Fulham 1.
Well, that silence at most of the crowd here. You can hear the Fulham fans in the corner though, but they've gone down the right-hand side there. It was a beautiful curling shot, you're absolutely right there. And it all ends up with Pickford beaten there by Wilson's shot, comes off the inside of the post. But Everton aren't quick enough to react when the ball comes back out, and when it does come back out to Reed, it may be 10-12 yards out, but it's still a tap in. This place was soporific. It was so quiet. It's got to lift this place up. Everton need these points, whereas Fulham, they can relax, sit back and just play in the play just the way they've been doing so far.
Well, that really is a setback for Everton. But the goal had been coming. That greater threat had been carried by the away side. Burton are leading Sheffield Wednesday, incidentally, in League One by a 0-0. Remember, Plymouth have already won away in the early game. They've beaten Exeter by a 0-0. And Sheffield Wednesday are behind. They only actually had their first win in 7 on Easter Monday. But now it's all about how do Everton respond.
Slight nightmare scenario. We were talking about it before the game for Everton fans, because they know they haven't got a lot of goals on their side, and you go one down. I mean, if you're almost thinking if you get a point out of this, they're doing well this early on, but they have created very, very little. certainly the forwards have been very quiet.
Gay swings over the cross, headed away by Tosin, played back by Garner. Tarkowski out towards that far side, and the significance of that scoreline is that for Everton at the bottom of the table here, trailing to Harrison Reed's goal. It's
a horrible position that Everton are in now, because now they have to go just keep on attacking. They have to go and take chances. Well, not too many chances early on, but in the end this is a nightmarish result for them. And of course for Fulham, they love playing the break. They've got James, they've got Willian, who love playing in those positions, and as we've seen on the right hand side, Reed can get forward too.
And for Nottingham Forest now, if they can just avoid defeat tomorrow at home to Manchester United, they will be out of the relegation zone. It's that tight down at the bottom. Everton looking for an equaliser. McNeil with a free kick, easily headed away by Tosin. Another towering header, and Dan James picks it up and leads the counter charge for Fulham with his pace. He was up against two Everton players. He takes the ball in towards the left corner. Support from Willian is behind him. James now swivels and gets a throw for his trouble. No, he doesn't. Last touch came off James. It'll be an Everton throw. Livingston leads St Johnstone by a 1-0, and another latest score in the Scottish Premiership. Motherwell 1, struggling Dundee United 0, and Salford 0, Colchester 1 is the latest score in League 2.
I'm just saying there about how Fulham should play there on the break. Well, they've done exactly that. They've played in the break there and almost get James away, and you can hear the groans around Goodison Park now.
Tete for Fulham. Pereira back out towards Tete. Tete's cross, Willian unmarked, hits it. No, volley, first time, right-footed, blocked by Godfrey. Let's get news of that Burton goal. Nikesh Rugani.
Yeah, it was a corner from the left-hand side, nicely floated in towards the far post, and the captain John Brayford completely unmarked with an easy knock-in into the back of the net. It's gone slightly against the run of play, but it's Burton 1, Sheffield Wednesday 0.
Everton can't get hold of the ball, and the atmosphere is just starting to get from frustration.
It's on the way to anger. Already, you're absolutely spot on, but you can feel the frustration, and you know it's twice in a row Everton have given the ball away. That doesn't help your team. I mean, the fans, you can't blame them. They've had a tough season to go through, but if your team's 1-0 down, you're in the relegation places, and then your bad passes are kind of booed like that, certain players stop wanting to make the pass. They don't take chances. They don't try and play the through ball. They play the simple pass. Everton need more than that just now.
Here is James. There's a real sprightly manner about Fulham's play so far in these opening 26 minutes. They're not necessarily playing about a side that has suffered 5 straight defeats in all competitions. Pereira, he was caught by Gay. That'll be a free kick, might well result in a yellow card for the Everton player, and indeed it does. Meanwhile, in one of our featured games in League 2, there's been another goal at Sutton Lee Blakeman.
It's another worldie for Orient. Sutton 0, Leyton Orient 2. Tom James 30 yards out, across goal, top corner. They're doing all they can to go up today, Orient, but as things stand, Bradford scuppering things. Sutton 0, Leyton Orient 2.
Yes, they are still winning away at Rochdale. No other goals to tell you about just as yet, apart from this one. It's at Molineux. Pat Murphy.
Goal to Wolves, and it's been scored by Diego Costa. Just the kind of game for him. He began the move, he passed it down to Sarabia, made haste into the box, 1 or 2 ricochets, came to Costa, and there, 15 yards out, he's made it. Wolves 1, Brentford 0.
Well, they've won 2 of their last 3 at home and against London sides as well, in Tottenham and Chelsea, so that might well continue if it was to stay like that against Brentford. Meanwhile, there's been a goal at Rangers, ready for side.
And Rangers have at last beaten Trevor Carson in the St Mirren goal, 1-0 to them, as Todd Cantwell flicked home from close range after a very brisk move involving Tavernier and Sakala. And that's the difference between the sides now. Rangers 1, St Mirren 0.
Walsall without, 1 win in 18, now 2-0 down at Gresty Road. Crewe 2, Walsall 0. Lincoln are down to 10 men, and you're up to date with the goals as they go in. Still, the free kick hasn't been taken by Fulham, who are leading here 1-0 at Goodison Park. And it's going to be, it's midway through the Everton half. Pereira's going to take it. Reed walks away, the goal scorer. Wilson is also there with his right arm aloft. Everton have got everybody back. It's going to be left towards Wilson. It's an outswinger. Palini got his head onto that goal kick. Pat Nevin.
Yeah, just Gay getting the yellow card there. He's got in a bit of a grump the past 5 minutes or so, and he threw in a few tackles. And at this point in time, Everton need everything in their favour. Gay giving him away a meaningless one, absolutely meaningless yellow card there. He now can't make the tackles that he needs to make, and that's probably made a huge difference to the midfield. Also, I think there was a little change in system with Everton, but we'll get back to that in a minute.
Carl Rushworth was the player sent off for Lincoln. They're still 1-0 up though at home to Port Vale, but will stay in League One because there's been another goal. Sahel Sahi at Forest Green.
And a second for Barnsley. Forest Green 0, Barnsley 2. A free kick which was cleared. It fell to Phillips, 20 yards away, right-footed shot, flew past the Forest Green goalkeeper. Forest Green have to win if they're to survive today, but they're going down as things stand. Forest Green 0, Barnsley 2.
Everton are attacking. Godfrey, edge of the area. Harrison Reed dives in there to stop the Everton attack, and the ball will go out of play. There was a foul there. It'll be a Fulham free kick. An update of Women's Six Nations, Wales, England. Claire Thomas.
England are running rampant in Cardiff. They have their 4th and 5th scores and lead 31 points to 3. 2 beautiful tries from Holly Aitchison and Jess Breach. Wales haven't scored since the 14th minute and need to find something to stem the bleeding. Half an hour to play. Wales 3, reigning champions 31.
So Plymouth Argyle went to the top of League One early with that 1-0 victory at Exeter. Sheffield Wednesday have just equalised at Burton Albion. Sheffield Wednesday very much in the mix. It remains 1-1 there. It's Sunderland 0, Birmingham 1. That's in the Championship, and now there's been a goal at Tottenham. Henry Moran.
Simplicity for Spurs. They lead by goal to 0. It's Son who's got it, his 12th of the season. Ball over the top, cut back by Perisic, and a little deflection past Neto in the Bournemouth goal sees Tottenham 1, Bournemouth 0.
Nikesh, tell me about the Wednesday equaliser.
Yeah, it was Callum Patterson with it. It was a beautiful pass into him. He was charging down the right-hand side, unleashed a low right-footed shot from the edge of the area into the bottom corner. They deserve it. It's Burton 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1.
Crawley 1, Tranmere 1, a latest score in League 2. Everton have just been awarded a free kick, still trailing by a goal to 0. It's inside the Fulham half. Pat Nevin.
Well, they like to play with a 4-5-1 or a 4-3-3, Everton, but they had a little bit of a go with 4-4-2 there. It didn't work. They were getting no ball whatsoever to Demarai Gray up there and Mopey. So they've moved Mopey out to the left wing. Gray out to the left wing. Mopey's going to stay centre forward. On the right hand side they've got Dwight McNeil. It gives a little bit more help in that midfield, which they were beginning to lose. So it was meant as a positive tactic, kind of backfired.
Well, Luis Boamorte with Marco Silva serving the second of his touchline ban is the man who's getting those instructions across in that technical area down below as McNeil plays in the free kick. Headed on by Tarkowski, almost headed in, beaten out by the goalkeeper, and then on the follow-up it was cleared over the crossbar. What a chance that was for Everton to level. Tarkowski just couldn't keep it down, came to him very, very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think it would have been offside. When the ball was headed into him, he gets in front of everyone else, and I think he's just strayed offside there. But it's still a brilliant save with the goalkeeper. He didn't know that. The assistant referee had his flag up, and he was absolutely right to have it up there. But that will lift the Everton fans a little bit because they've had very little to cheer before that.
But no surprise that chance came from a set piece.
Yes, and it's what we've been waiting for the entirety of the game. Actually, the quality of the balls in haven't been bad so far, but they've not attacked them well. On that occasion, because Fulham had a high line, really high, about 10 yards outside their 18-yard line, it was too high, and it led to them almost losing the goal.
Tarkowski's header on, Mopey's header beaten out, and then Tarkowski off the rebound, ballooned it over the crossbar, and it remains 1-0 to Fulham. Lincoln 1, Port Vale 1. Port Vale have equalised then against the 10 men of Lincoln, and Stoke City are leading West Bromwich Albion by a goal to 0 in the Championship. West Brom, without a win in 4, are behind there. We got 13 minutes to go to half-time. We'll be going racing very, very soon. The hurdle's underway at around 3:35. Then we've got the handicap chase at 4:15 before the Grand National, the 175th Grand National, off at 5:15. Well, that's the scheduled off time, and you'll hear it live here on BBC Radio 5 Live, and we'll be back at Aintree at half-time with Mark Chapman. Everton still trailing by a goal to 0. We've got commentary after the Grand National of Manchester City against Leicester City from 5:30. Back to Leno, chips the ball out very coolly to Tete. His ball has gone astray. Tarkowski plays it out, and now Iwobi makes the run ahead of him on the left-hand side. Iwobi on the inside, Tete there to turn, and prevent the ball from going in towards the penalty area. And Port Vale have quickly turned that around since Lincoln were reduced to 10 men. It's now Lincoln 1, Port Vale 2 as the latest score in League One, and it remains 1-0 here to Fulham. Pat.
Yeah, Fulham are cruising a little bit, but you can't afford to do too much. That little change of system has put Everton into a system that they're more comfortable with. They're getting a little bit more ball in the midfield, so they're holding it a little bit better. I think Gay feels a wee bit happier than he was before, because he's getting a little bit of help in there, but they need those fans to get behind him, and because they've lifted it a bit, those Evertonians are getting behind him, so slight concern for Fulham at the moment.
Let's get an update from Stamford Bridge. John Southall.
0, but Brighton are creating some chances. Matoma on the left of the area, slalomed his way in, weaved past a couple of players. Kepa saved the shot. Kepa's just produced another brilliant save to deny Ferguson with a header. Chelsea 1, Brighton 0.
The only goalless game in the Premier League is at Southampton. Southampton, Crystal Palace. Spurs, remember, lead Bournemouth by a goal to 0. Wolves are 1-0 up against Brentford. Earlier it finished Aston Villa 3, Newcastle United 0. 10 minutes to half time. Paulinho. Referee has played the advantage as he stretched into that challenge with Gay. It falls towards McNeil! And McNeil scores! Excellent refereeing from Anthony Taylor to play the advantage. And McNeil certainly did take advantage with a low left-footed shot into the bottom right-hand corner. Boy, did Everton need that. 1-1.
Well, it's a great take. He was under a lot of pressure. You're right, it could have blown it. He didn't go there, but he kept himself strong. The ball was directly in front of him, so you wondered how he was going to get enough power, but he did get enough power. He just about hit the inside of the post before he went in. But let's look at that technical area there. Sean Dyche made the tactical change 4 or 5 minutes ago, and from that moment on, Everton looked totally different. Sometimes you take a striker back out of the centre forward position, put him into midfield. That's not a negative thing, that can be a positive thing. It was there, 1-1, and we're got a game on now.
Certainly have. I've just heard a supporter from somewhere over my left shoulder who's just said, "Get in." And it was certainly a sweet, sweet strike. And here in the sunshine, you can tell with the noise what that has done for the atmosphere, as Paulinho floats the ball out towards Tete, controls it, and his cross is a wayward one, and it drifts out of play. Accrington 0, Fleetwood 2. Burton are back in front at home to Sheffield Wednesday. Burton 2, Sheffield Wednesday 1. Harrogate 0, Doncaster 1 in the Yorkshire derby. And Port Vale are now down to 10 men. Tom Conlon has been sent off. So Port Vale and Lincoln have both had a player sent off as Port Vale lead 2-1 at Sinsel Bank. An update from the rugby now, Wales-England, Claire Thomas.
Well, Wales just can't convert possession into points. Lots of positives for them, but they cannot get a score on the board. England, they can. Ellie Kildare over for their 6th try. Casual, as you like. Sarah Byrne and Abby Dow destructive in the build-up. And the Red Roses in cruise control. They lead 38 points to 3.
Commentary on Sports Extra. Goal at Forest Green. Sahel Sahi.
Yeah, 3rd for Barnsley. Forest Green 0, Barnsley 3. A very tough day for Forest Green. They're heading back down to League 2, Ian. 38 minutes played. Forest Green 0, Barnsley 3.
Yep, they'll be their relegation then confirmed with that defeat today, as I'm sure it's likely. Michael Duff's side, though, going very, very well. That will be 13 wins out of their last 17 for the South Yorkshire team. Tell you what, if we're quick to criticise referees, you've got to be quick to praise them, and that was excellent refereing from Anthony Taylor in the build-up to the goal.
It was. You just need to take a little moment. There's no rush to make a decision like that. But a lot of referees would have done it. They see a foul. It's a natural thing sometimes for a referee to do, but he let it play on. And the big thing about it was the technical ability to get the power of the shot from Dwight McNeil. When he hasn't got any side lift, it seemed to be right in front of him. It's a really difficult thing to do there, to be a good goalkeeper from about 20 yards, but he did it. And again, that change of system, it's given freedom to that Everton team. Every player looks more comfortable now.
Long punt downfield. Paulinho will bring the ball away. Let's get news of that second goal from Burton at a very exciting top of League One. Nikesh Ragani.
Ian Dennis, they've just scored a third as well, and Mark Helm has got both of them. The first, a short-range toe poke, and the second, a low, thunderous shot from outside the area. Everything going wrong for Sheffield Wednesday. It's now Burton 3, Sheffield Wednesday 1.
And you wouldn't necessarily rule out Barnsley on their current form from automatic promotion, leading 3-0 away at Forest Green, but Plymouth top, Ipswich second, Sheffield Wednesday, well, they're struggling now at Burton, 3-1 down, and Barnsley comfortably ahead at what will be relegated Forest Green. That's how League One looks at the moment. And Everton 1-1. How important was it that they went back on level terms going into half-time, Pat Nevin?
Massively so. Mention the fact they don't score many goals. They've not got that many natural goal scorers out, so just hope for a minute to see us Harrison Reed.
Harrison Reed, edge of the D, tries to get it out towards Wilson. Sliding in was Tarkowski with a committed challenge. Everton are fired up, the crowd are fired up, and now they look to try and clear. Garner, though, runs into trouble. Reed was back there helping out for Fulham. Livingston 2, St Johnstone 0 is the latest score in the Scottish Premiership. Interestingly, when Everton have conceded first in the Premier League this season, they've only won one of 17 in the Premier League after conceding the first goal. Well, they're back on level terms now, but they need more than a point ideally in their predicament. They need all three. They need to take advantage of these home games. 6 minutes to go to half-time, 1-1.
But they don't look like the same team. I mean, Fulham, to be honest, haven't changed. You know, they're playing it really nicely, holding it well when they've got possession, but it's kind of been all about how Everton can control parts of the game themselves, and they just look like a totally different side now that have changed the system.
Mopé caught late by Paulini. The referee will give the free kick. We'll get an update from Tottenham. Henry Moran.
West Spurs almost double their lead. Son fed Harry Kane. Low shot saved by Neto. Son almost scored a second for himself a moment before. Spurs on top, and they lead by a goal to nil midway through the first half.
Everton are attacking here as Mopé towards Gray. Back towards Mopé. Mopé almost scores. Fulham get the ball away. Almost close to 2-1 Everton, but it remains 1-1. We're going to go racing on this busy afternoon. It's the hurdle at Aintree, John Hunt.
Yes, top class staying hurdle, and Maurice Rock, who was so disappointing at Cheltenham, has just come sauntering through to take the lead from former champion staying hurdler Florin Porter, but Syed Burley has come from right at the back end of the field to throw down a challenge as well. So Syed Burley onto the run-in has taken Maurice Rock. It's an amazing performance by Syed Burley, who looked cooked a mile ago but has come storming home. Syed Burley for Gordon Elliott. Gordon, 3 times a Grand National winner, has got 5 runners in the National, and Syed Burley's ridden by Mark Walsh, who in the Grand National will ride any second now, who has twice been a runner-up.
Thank you, John. John will only start preparing for the Grand National after we've heard from the handicap chase at 4:15. What about that chance for Everton that Leno just did enough from Mopé? Everton now, though, they were on a corner kick, the momentum's with them.
Right. Do you know what we're saying? They really didn't have any imagination beforehand. Try not to get too carried away, but that was Barcelona-esque, the way they played through Xavi Iniesta way. But just for that moment, so let's not get too carried away. I thought it was a beautiful move by Everton. Brilliant save, and Leno had to be very, very special.
Crawley 2, Tranmere 1, Grimsby 0, Mansfield 1 are 2 latest scores. Corners taken short on the right hand side. 1-1 here at Goodison. Roll back towards Garner. In it comes off the head, out towards Mopé. Mopé, though, didn't keep the ball in play. Out it goes for a goal kick to Fulham. 3 minutes to go to half time. 1 apiece here. Another goal, though, at Stamford Bridge. John Southall.
Same scoreline here. Chelsea 1, Brighton 1. A deserved equaliser from Brighton. Danny Welbeck at the back post with the header off the post. Chelsea 1, Brighton 1.
And just to prove I do listen to Pat Nevin, Pat a couple of weeks ago said, do you know what Brighton's record is at Stamford Bridge?
How many goals they've scored?
Yeah, and up until last season, with Danny Welbeck, incidentally, that was their first ever goal in their 8th visit at Stamford Bridge. They'd never scored in their previous 7, and Welbeck's added again. 1-1 it remains. And we are going to go to Southampton and Jonathan Overend.
Southampton 0, Crystal Palace 0. Southampton have really dominated possession in this first half, but it hasn't come to much. They're playing without a recognised striker. No striker, no goals, 0-0.
Player sent off for each side, and now 2 apiece at Sincil Bank. Lincoln City 2, Port Vale 2. And on the video printer I noticed that Alex Ferguson has just scored for East Fife against Stranraer. Doing well. Here is Garner, sends in a good ball for Everton, cleared away by Fulham. It's amazing how this game has just turned on its head.
Again, it's every single Everton player just looks more comfortable because they've been let loose in positions that they feel better in. As a manager, as a coach, you need to be able to see that. And sometimes it's just that, it's a toss of a coin, you change it and hope. But I think it was spotted there by Sean Dyche that it wasn't working for a variety of reasons. He needed more play, more space in the midfield, and he looked totally different now.
McNeil looked like he'd been caught there. It was an amazing little run by McNeil with the ball glued to his foot, but the referees didn't give it, and in the end the fourth official now, who is Josh Smith, is getting it right in the ear from Sean Dyche. His right ear is getting a real ear bashing.
He's going to stop now because he's just got a decision in his favour the other way, so the referees let play on go again.
60 seconds remaining of normal time. 1-1. Now it's with Iwobi. Diagonal ball. McNeil backing away from the penalty area, right hand side, controls it, delivers a left footed cross. Gray tries to touch it goalwards and it runs just wide. That was agonisingly close. Goal kick, one apiece.
Well, they're really beginning to create chances now, Everton. Again, a lot of it's right. McNeil, since he's moved over to the right here, just wants to run at players, try and go past players. I'm sure his manager said to him, look, just have a dig, have a go, ask the questions there. But that ball was played in there, and do you know what, Demarai Gray, he's feathered it. Had he got just a toenail more on it, that creeps in at the back post. That's 2 or 3 really good chances in the last few minutes that Everton have created, and it's Everton, well, they don't want to be greedy, but they'd love to go ahead before half-time. What a difference that would make, considering the moans and groans that were going around here 20 minutes ago.
Did you see anything of Burnley towards the end of last season? Because when I did towards the end, I always thought McNeil was more effective on the right than the left.
Yeah, and it's sometimes, a manager just say, look, we're covered in that area, can you do a job for us elsewhere? It's a team game, you kind of have to do it. But it's just been let off those. And he's not the only one. Iwobi, he's been playing more central. He looks like a completely different player as well now. He's been playing more central, so every single player looks more at one-way's position.
2 minutes of added on time here at Goodison. It's 1-1. It's Chelsea 1, Brighton 1. Southampton Palace is 0-0. Tottenham lead Bournemouth by a goal to 0. Wolves are 1-0 up at home to Brentford. They're the latest scores in the Premier League on Grand National Day, with the race is live on 5 Live from 5:15. Latest now in the Women's Six Nations, Wales, England, Claire Thomas.
Well, to say this has turned into a rout is something of an understatement. 4 points in it with 34 minutes played, but the gap is now 49 and Wales down to 14. England struck swiftly to make the most of the deficit through both replacement props, Maud Muir and Hannah Bottoman going over, and the Roses lead 8 tries to 0 in Cardiff. 52-3 the score with 15 minutes to play.
Garner, right hand side, Garner with a cross. That was blocked by Ream. Out of play, it's going to go for a throw. No, it won't. McNeil will keep the ball inside. We're in stoppage time. Gay rolls away from Pereira, plays a crossfield ball. Iwobi. Mikalenko is ahead of him on that left hand side. Mikalenko now towards Demarai Gray. Everton looking to go in front here with Gray, can't deliver the cross. He waits for Iwobi to provide the support, uses him a decoy as he flashes the effort right-footed off target and out for a goal kick. It remains 1-1 and there's been a goal at Rotherham. Katie Smith.
Yeah, Rotherham 0, Luton 1, an 18th of the season for Carlton Morris, right-hand side of the area, cut it back onto his left foot, beautifully finished. They're trying to keep pace with Sheffield United for that second automatic promotion spot. They lead by a goal to 0.
Yeah, they are, but Sheffield United had an excellent win at home to Cardiff City earlier on today. Paul Heckingbottom's side at the start of play had gone 8 points clear. That will be reduced to 5 as it stands. Middlesbrough, of course, had a handsome win against Norwich City last night at the Riverside. We're in stoppage time here at Goodison Park, and there in fact is indeed the half-time whistle. Everton 1, Fulham 1, and Everton have been good value since they equalised.
We didn't expect 2 goals in this game. We didn't expect 2 goals in the first half, but certainly Fulham was slightly the better team without being brilliant, and certainly not going at 100 miles an hour. I've seen them much better this season. In the last part of the second half, they were not appearing at all in the Everton half. However, Everton, as we say, changed the system. Well done, Sean Dyche spots it, and every single Everton player in that front third looks a better player in a 4-2-3-1 as opposed to a 4-4-2, and that's why they've got back on terms and they could have even been ahead. We've actually got about 8 seconds second half to look forward to now.
Certainly do. It was Fulham who took the lead through Reed after 22 minutes. The equaliser came from McNeil 13 minutes later. Everton 1, Fulham 1. Mark.
Now, can you do me a favour during half-time, Ian, and just stay there, because I moved up to the commentary box at Aintree and the Wi-Fi isn't brilliant, so if my half-time scores go down, I'm going to need you.
Well, do you know something? If you know this Goodison commentary box, you'll know that I can't go anywhere anyway. I'm wedged in, literally.
Right, my hero. Thank you very much. We will go to Ibrox. Ronnie Forsyth, there's been a goal.
Yes, and it's occurred in injury time. St Mirren are still celebrating it. It was a marvellous volley by Mark O'Hara on the angle, far side of the penalty area, and the Rangers fans behind that goal had been getting very upset by the amount of crosses that St Mirren were getting in there. But now we're waiting to see whether there's a VAR decision that could chalk that off. Was there a handball? Well, while we're waiting on that, let me just tell you what happened earlier. James Tavernier with a penalty kick saved by Trevor Carson before Rangers took the lead just before the half-hour mark. That was when Todd Cantwell got in the end of a move by Tavernier and Sakala and rammed the ball into the net off the crossbar. Long VAR check. In that case, it was allowed. We appear to be going to get underway here again, which means it's Rangers 1, St Mirren 1.
Thank you very much. So earlier, Aston Villa beat Newcastle 3-0 in the Premier League. Let's go round all our 3 o'clocks. Started with the only goalless game, and that's at St Mary's. Jonathan Overend.
Southampton 0, Crystal Palace 0. Southampton had most of the ball in the first half. 2 decent chances. Aribo over and Walcott into the side netting, but often ponderous with their build-up, and at times looking happy to run the time down. Peculiar when you're bottom of the table. Ruben Sellers applauded his team off on the half-time whistle, while some fans around him booed. A point not enough. Palace have soaked it up, looking comfortable, knowing that they'll surely get a second half chance. Southampton 0, Palace 0.
Let's go to Molineux next, where the home side lead. Pat Murphy.
1-0 against Brentford. Diego Costa the story. He's relished this contest, loved the physicality, and he scored his first Premier League goal since May 2017. Began the move. Ricochet, having controlled it poorly first time out, he won't care. 12 yards out, goal. Earlier they threatened Brentford, they'd gone close a couple of times, but that goal came at just the right time for Wolves. Wolves 1, Brentford 0.
Well, we did say this could very well be a draw, didn't we, John Southall?
It is a draw at the moment. Chelsea 1, Brighton 1. I have to say Brighton have been the better team. Chelsea took the lead. Mudryk found Gallagher on the edge of the area. His shot took a big deflection, looped in. Sanchez full stretch, couldn't keep it out. The 6-hour, 27-minute wait for a goal over. They then missed some chances, Brighton. McAllister 3 times. Matomo's been brilliant. Forced Kepa into a save. Evan Ferguson hit the bar, then denied by Kepa. That was his last contribution. He hobbled off for Danny Welbeck. 3 minutes later, Welbeck met a cross at the back post. He headed in via the post. Much deserved that for Brighton. Half time, Chelsea 1, Brighton 1.
Delayed kick-off at Tottenham because Bournemouth were late. Henry Moran.
Yes, still over 10 minutes until half-time. Spurs 1, Bournemouth 0. The goal coming after 13 minutes. Son converting the cutback from Perisic to make it 1-0. His 12th of the season. Good game this. Chances at both ends. Kane could easily have doubled the lead. Low shot well saved by Neto. Bournemouth have had a couple of opportunities. Ryan Christie firing over when well placed, and a good curling effort from Tavernier, tipped over the bar by Lloris. So the score, 35 minutes gone. Spurs 1, Bournemouth 0.
Let's go into the Championship. Sheffield United beat Cardiff 4-1 earlier, so that means Burnley can't win the title today. They're at Reading. Aaron Paul.
Reading 0, Burnley 0. Chances have been at a premium here, with Burnley playing keep ball for large parts of the half. They've had 77% possession, Vincent Kompany's side, but only Manuel Benson and Scott Twine have used it positively. They've both tested Joe Lumley in the Reading goal. There's been little attacking offering from the home side, with Noel Hunt's side just settling into their new 4-4-2 formation. At the break, it's goalless.
Luton on course to make it unbeaten in 10, Katie Smith.
Yeah, they haven't done that for 41 years in the second tier. Rotherham 0, Luton 1. Top scorer Carlton Morris whipping one in on the stroke of half-time. Luton really building into the half, though frustration for Rotherham. They've been pretty resolute, and Vickers in goal, making a stunning double save minutes before that. At the break though, Rotherham 0, Luton 1.
Elsewhere in the Championship, big game at the bottom between 23rd and 24th, and at the moment that's going the way of the 23rd side. Blackpool lead Wigan by a goal to nil. Jerry Yates got it very early on in that game, 14 for the season now for Blackpool's leading scorer, and Millwall's leading scorer is the difference between the two sides at the Den. Tom Bradshaw's 14th of the season, and they lead Preston by a goal to nil. QPR are on a nightmare run in the Championship. They've won just one of their last 18, and they're behind at the break to Coventry. Victor Gyökeres with the goal, 20 for the season for him. Stoke lead West Brom by a goal to nil. It's all square at the Stadium of Light. Sunderland 1, Birmingham 1. Goalless at Swansea between Swansea and Huddersfield, and Harry Cornick got the Watford goal, and they lead Bristol City by a goal to nil at the break. Blackburn Hull is a 7:45 kickoff. Earlier on in League One, Cambridge beat Peterborough by 2 goals to nil, and Plymouth won the derby at Exeter by a goal to nil. So that puts the pressure on Sheffield Wednesday, and they're not dealing well with it. Nicholas Regani.
No, not at all. It's Burton Albion at 3, Sheffield Wednesday 1 at the break. Burton continued to shake things up at the top of League One, having beaten Barnsley on Good Friday. They now lead Sheffield Wednesday, and despite a nervous start, they deserve it. Burton taking the lead from a corner with John Brayford nodding in from the back post. That was slightly against the run of play early on, but Wednesday found their equaliser thanks to a low shot from distance from Callum Patterson. After that, though, the home side really did wake up. Mark Helm scored twice in 3 minutes. His first was a toe poke from 6 yards out. His second, a lovely, powerful low shot into the bottom corner from the edge of the area. Sheffield Wednesday's season at the moment seems to be fizzling out in very disappointing style indeed. Burton 3, Sheffield Wednesday 1.
And that's good news for Ipswich. Martin Fisher.
Yeah, absolutely no sign of promotion jitters in this Ipswich side. Off to a flyer here, a high energy start that saw them surge into a commanding 2-0 lead inside 14 minutes. Both goals confidently dispatched by Connor Chaplin. They're on course for their 6th consecutive win here at Portman Road.
Back to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, Henry.
Equaliser for Bournemouth, 38 minutes gone, and Matthias Viña, first start, first goal, lovely move down the left-hand side, ball through and a cheeky little dink over the advancing Tottenham goalkeeper. Well, you could say it's undeserved in some respects. Tottenham have been the better of the two sides, but Bournemouth, when they've come forward, they have threatened. They've got the equaliser. Spurs 1, Bournemouth 1.
Back to League One. Horrible first 45 minutes for Forest Green Rovers. Sahel Sahi.
Yeah, they trailed Barnsley by 3 goals to nil, Mark. They're heading into League Two after a very tough 45 minutes. The sinking feeling set in with the home support. As early as the 8th minute, Slobodan Tedic with the goal. A further 2 were added as Barnsley are reminding everyone there is a 4th team in the race for the top 2 positions in League One. Half-time here, Mark. Forest Green 0, Barnsley 3.
Here are the other half-times in League One. Accrington 0, Fleetwood 2. Both Fleetwood's goals coming from Jack Marriott. Derby have the lead at Bristol Rovers by a goal to nil. David McGoldrick got that. He's now got 22 for the season. Elsewhere, Lincoln 2, Port Vale 2. Both sides have had a man sent off in that game. MK Dons 1, Cheltenham 1. Two sides in good form there. MK Dons unbeaten in 6. Cheltenham have lost just 1 of their last 8. Goalless between Morecambe and Wickham. Oxford 0, Bolton 1. Dion Charles with the goal there. 19 for the season for him, and it's goalless at Shrewsbury between Shrewsbury and Portsmouth. Into League 2, and the leaders Leyton Orient, Lee Blakeman.
Leyton Orient doing all they can to seal promotion today. They're 2-0 up here at Sutton. Sadly a free kick for the first, an absolute worldie from Tom James from 30 yards for the second. Curler, top corner, just brilliant. The permutations for Orient to go up today, though, involve Bradford losing at Rochdale, and Bradford are winning. Orient doing their bit, though, leading Sutton 2-0.
Carlisle against Northampton is 4th against 2nd. Alistair Yeomans.
Carlisle 0, Northampton 0. The highlight, a nice piece of quality from Northampton. Scotland under-21 international Mark Leonard spotted keeper Thomas Holy off his line, tried to lob him from his own half. His shot was on target, but the keeper got back just to save it. Carlisle 0, Northampton 0.
Could be a massive 3 points for Crawley this afternoon. They're next to bottom. They haven't won in their last 4, but they lead Tranmere at the break by 2 goals to 1. It's Crewe 2, Walsall 0. Stockport, who've won 5 of their last 6 away from home, are being held at Gillingham. It's goalless there. It's Grimsby 0, Mansfield 1. Harrogate aren't safe either at the moment, and they trail at home to Doncaster by a goal to 0. Newport County lead Hartlepool 2-0. As you heard from Lee, Bradford lead at the bottom of the table, Rochdale by a goal to 0. Salford 0, Colchester 1. Noah Chilver's got that goal. He's got 8 for the season. Stevenage 1, AFC Wimbledon 1. And it's goalless between Swindon and Barrow. Let's go into the Scottish Premiership. Roddy Forsyth is at Ibrox.
Rangers 1, St Mirren 1 at half-time. St Mirren need a point to be sure of a top 6 finish. They're halfway there despite the fact they conceded an early penalty when Raskin was stripped by Gogic. James Tavernier took it, but for once his touch let him down. Trevor Carson guessed correctly, saved. But Rangers took the lead through Todd Cantwell after Tavernier and Sakala had linked in a brilliantly fast move. Came off the crossbar and was allowed to stand after a long VAR check. But then O'Hara, with a magnificent volley off his own chest just on the edge of this Rangers penalty area, made it 1 each at half-time and left the Ibrox crowd shocked.
Elsewhere in the Scottish Premiership, Hibs beat Hearts in the Edinburgh derby. That finished 1-0. Livingston 2, St Johnstone 0. That's a half-time score, by the way. And Motherwell lead Dundee United at the break by 1-0. In the Championship, Cove Rangers 0, Inverness Caledonian Thistle 0, Dundee 1, Greenock Morton 1. Dundee are the leaders. Queen's Park are in second. They won last night. Partick Thistle 1, Ayr 0, and Wraith 1, Arbroath 0. In Scottish League 1, Clyde 2, Edinburgh 1, Dunfermline 2, Queen of the South 0. If that stays as is, Dunfermline are promoted this afternoon. Falkirk lead Adrionians by 1-0. It's Kelty Hearts 0, Alloa 0, and Montrose 1, Peterhead 0. In Scottish League 2, Annan 2, Albion Rovers 0, Bonnyrigg Rose 0, Dumbarton 0. East 5 leads Stranraer by 2-0. It's Elgin 2, Forfar 0, and Stenhousemuir 0, Stirling Albion 0. And in the National League this afternoon, full-time score from lunchtime, Barnet 0, Wrexham 0. Can Notts County take advantage? They play Woking, who are in third, at 5:30. As far as the half-times are concerned, Aldershot 1, Scunthorpe 0, Borehamwood 1, Wealdstone 0, Chesterfield 0, Eastleigh 2. Two playoff chasing sides there at Chesterfield. Dorking 1, Altrincham 2, FC Halifax 1, Maidstone 0, Gateshead 0, Bromley 0, Oldham lead Maidenhead by 1-0. Solihull Moors 2, relegation threatened Yeovil 0, Southend 0, Dagenham and Redbridge 0, and Torquay are also fighting to stay in the National League, and they lead York by 2-1 at half-time. To the Women's Six Nations, and it is Claire Thomas.
It is indeed, and England have their 9th, a hugely popular score from Sarah Beckett, who was omitted from that Rugby World Cup squad last autumn, and all the more impressive because the Red Rose are down to 13, having been shown 2 yellow cards in the last 5 minutes. They are going to equal their own competition record for most consecutive away wins. Their 10th is coming up in 5 minutes' time. They lead 3 points to 59.
Big delay at the Bet365 this afternoon because of an injured player. 2 players that were injured, so they're playing 15 minutes of second half stoppage time, and Stoke have taken the lead against West Brom. Stoke 1, West Brom 0, and the half-time whistle still hasn't gone there. Second half from Goodison on the way. The Grand National at 5:15, Manchester City Leicester at 5:30. This is 5 Live Sports on a Saturday afternoon. Jill Mackenzie has the news.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Police have arrested 2 women and a man ahead of this afternoon's Grand National, which animal rights campaigners have threatened to disrupt. They're being held on suspicion of conspiracy to cause public nuisance. NHS leaders say further strikes by nurses in England are extremely worrying. Members of the Royal College of Nursing will walk out for 2 days over the early May bank holiday after rejecting the government's latest pay offer. Heavy fighting is taking place in Sudan in what looks like an attempted coup by a paramilitary force. Online video shows at least 1 civilian airliner on fire at the main airport in the capital, Khartoum. And a Conservative councillor has been expelled from the party after he said it was more likely a rape victim was a prostitute. Sean Slater's part of Bromley Council in South East London. He told the BBC he's disappointed by the decision to expel him.
This is 5 Live Sport with Mark Chapman.
It is a gloriously sunny afternoon at Aintree. There are a few clouds in the sky, and the Grand National is about an hour and 10 minutes away. In the commentary box here alongside John Hunt. As we've been saying, people pick names, people pick jockeys. everybody seems to be attracted to Rachel Blackmore and putting money on her horse. She had a big fall in the last race, and also Davy Russell, who's won this race before he's made a big announcement.
He has, yes. Davy Russell's confirmed for the second time this year that today will be the final day's riding in his amazing career that's spanned much of the last 30 years. Russell, who of course unforgettably won 2 Grand Nationals with Tiger Roll, is back this afternoon to try and make it 3 on Galvin. He did retire earlier in the year but came back because of a shortage of jockeys at his stable, that of Gordon Elliott in Ireland. But today is it for him. Rachel Blackmore, as you say, she took a bad fall earlier, Mark, but she's back fit and well, a bit sore, but she will ride Ain't That a Shame in the Grand National in just over an hour's time, and the betting could not be tighter. 10-1 co-favourites, Delta Work, Gaia Dumainil, Ain't That a Shame, and Corach Rambler, all disputing favouritism.
Thank you very much, John. So John Hunt will call them home at 5:15 here at Aintree. Then we go to the Etihad for Manchester City against Leicester. Let's go back to Goodison, second half on the way. Come on then, Ian, who have you tipped?
Well, I've as you know, I've had a dabble on a couple. Right. So I fancy Delta Work, Big Dog, and Limailos. But also had a big anti-post bet on Annie Second now a long time ago.
My God, it would have been easier to say which ones haven't you bet on, wouldn't it, really?
Well, speculate to accumulate, I was always told from my old economics teacher.
Chappers, right. I am going to stitch them up all over the place. That's not them all.
Right, well, I'm sure he could tell us who else he's tipped over the course of this 45 minutes. Take it away, my very own Big Dog.
Yeah, don't worry, I've got the studio to clip up You're My Hero from earlier on. That'll do for me. And the fact that Western Bilbao won in the 225, I don't really care who wins the Grand National, if we're being brutally honest. Anyway, back to the football, and straight away I can tell you there's been a goal at Rotherham, but who to in the Championship? Katie Smith.
Luton have doubled their lead. Rotherham 0, Luton 2. There was a handball in the clearance. Cauley Woodrow steps up to take the penalty, saved by Vickers, who's had an astonishing game. He's the second choice keeper, but scored on the follow-up. So Luton leading by 2-0.
So Luton Town, terrific run of form. That would be 10 unbeaten as they're away at Rotherham United today. Earlier though, Sheffield United would still be 5 points clear after Sheffield United's excellent win against Cardiff City by 4-1. Paul Heckingbottom and Stuart McCall doing a terrific job at the top of the Championship, and of course next weekend involved in an FA Cup semi-final. And because of that Sheffield United victory, it means that Burnley can't win the title today. And the 2 other permutations in the English leagues, Leyton Orient were looking for promotion, though with Bradford City winning at Rochdale, that'll be on hold. The other one, though, will be happening, Forest Green's relegation from League 1 to League 2, because the last we heard they were 3-0 down at home to Barnsley. Delayed kick-off in the Premier League, so only at half-time now. Henry Moran.
Yeah, whistle's just gone at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. 1-1 between Spurs and Bournemouth. Son with the early goal, equaliser from the debutant Mateus Vigna, and it's been an entertaining game, 1-1.
And Everton straight away win a corner kick. Neither side has made a change. Pickford's in goal, back 4 of Godfrey, Tarkovsky, Keane and Mikulenko, Iwobi, Gay and Garner, Gray, Mopé and McNeil for the blue shirts, white shorts of Everton. For Fulham, white shirts and black shorts defending the Gladys Street end at the start of the second half. Leno in goal, a back 4 of Tete, Tossin, Tim Ream Robinson, Reed, Paulinho, Pereira, Wilson, Willian and Dan James. They are the respective starting lineups, neither team making an alteration. In comes that corner kick, Tosin heads it away, drops to the edge of the area. Referee Anthony Taylor has blown his whistle, he spotted a bit of pushing. Free kick to Fulham, Pat Nevin.
Yeah, that was a really good start for Everton, down the left hand side there. Better understanding now that Damari Gray's out in the left wing there. Looks so much more comfortable, wants to get the ball, wants to take players on, but also Mikulenko loves to overlap, so they work together well there. Mikulenko unlucky, couldn't get it on target.
It's his first start after a bit of an illness. He has made 4 successive substitute appearances before working his way back to fitness. Harrogate 0, Doncaster 2 is the latest score in that Yorkshire derby in League 2. Ball goes back to Tosin, comes under pressure from Mopé, has to react quickly, gets the ball out towards Ream. They've reached full time now in the Women's Six Nations. Claire Thomas.
All the sunshine, the sellout and the optimism, but that will be a bitter pill to swallow for Wales. The full-time score in Cardiff, 3 points to 59, shipping 9 tries against a rampant Red Rose whilst failing to score one of their own. Kira Bevan's penalty, the only thing they managed all afternoon. A disappointing afternoon in Cardiff, but the Red Rose march on top of the table, 3:59 the full-time score.
William with a shot that sailed over the top. Goal kick, Pat.
Well, it's the second time in the game that Williams got the ball left hand side, cut inside, and we've watched him many times in the past curl one into the top corner from there, but on neither occasion has he got even close. But don't give that player time. If you give him 2 or 3 efforts at it, he will eventually pick one out in the top corner.
It's the familiar voice of Pat Nevin, who's alongside us here at Goodison Park. The early results in the country earlier today: Aston Villa 3, Newcastle United 0. Aston Villa's charge for Europe continues. Sheffield United 4, Cardiff 1, as we've talked about. Hibs beat Hearts in the Edinburgh Derby by 1-0 at Easter Road. And at the top of League One, Plymouth went to the top after winning away at Exeter by 1-0. And Cambridge 4 unbeaten under Mark Bonner now after beating Peterborough 2-0. Everton are attacking, right hand side, crossed though from McNeil, strikes the post. Leno dived to his left and it rattled the outside of the post. I'm sure that the keeper had it covered.
Well, I think there's a wee deflection on it as well when it went through there. That's what confused. But McNeil obviously scored his goal, but he's really grown in confidence as this game's gone on.
Gray now on this left-hand side and wants the ball and gets it, but he's gone offside. He was unmarked. He was appealing for it, shouting for it with his right arm aloft. Didn't look across the line. Flags up. Free kick Fulham.
Hasn't even got excuse to say the sun in his eyes because he was over the other side there. Iwobi's got his hands up there because it's a beautiful ball by him, but he has to stay onside there.
Free kick to Fulham. Penalty at Forest Green. Sahel.
And a penalty for Barnsley. Adam Phillips is about to take it. Can he make it 4? Here he comes. Right footed. No, good save. It's fallen back out to him and he's converted. Barnsley lead Forest Green 4-0. Forest Green are heading down to League 2, Ian.
Yeah, Forest Green will be relegated. Barnsley still harbour outside hopes of automatic promotion. Harrogate have got a goal back. Harrogate 1, Doncaster 2 is the latest score in League 2. Gray. Well, Tete's all over him like a rash from behind. No wonder Steve Stone saying to the fourth official, how is that not a foul? As Robinson clears the ball away. There's been a goal now at Rangers, right for side.
And Rangers are back in front. This time it was a Barisic free kick, in swinging towards the 6-yard line. There was Passion Sakala with a cute header. Rangers 2, St Mirren 1.
Earlier Hibs 1, Hearts 0. The fourth official now, Josh Smith. He had Ian Wone, Steve Stone and Sean Dyche. All 3 of them were in his right lug hole.
Do you know, if it was me, I would have earplugs in and they would just be shouting at you all day long. You couldn't hear a word.
Ball played out for Everton, looking to try and carry on where they'd left off because they finished that first half so strongly. Gray to Iwobi. Ball passed in field towards Mopé, takes Ream with him, holds up the ball and turns. And did very well in difficult circumstances, but Everton go back. Now the only goalless game in the Premier League as Mopé once again turns into trouble in Paulinia. It was at St Mary's, but there's been a goal. Jonathan Overend.
And a certain inevitability to it as Crystal Palace take the lead here. They soaked up all the Southampton possession in the first half. They knew they'd get a chance in the second, and it has come after just 8 minutes of it. Eberici Eze, neat finish after Bazina had saved from Elise. 1-0 to Crystal Palace.
Roy Hodgson won't have it, but they're heading towards safety. That would take them to 36 points and with still a number of games to play. Tete with a cross deep towards the far post. William pulls it back. Wilson! Fulham are back in front. Cross from the right hand side. William with a layoff. Wilson unmarked arriving. It's his first league goal of the season and it puts Fulham back in front. 2-1.
Well, first of all, well done Tete, going the right hand side there, puts the ball to the back post there. He knew that Willian had stayed in lots of space. He hadn't get drawn into the ball there, so he's laid himself off at the back there. But the intelligence of Willian at that point in time, there would have been temptation to have a lash at it on the ball. He's got the technical ability to do that, but no, he understands that the right thing to do is to kill the ball, cushion it back to his mate, who's hammering in and manages to score just with a pass into the middle of the net. Nothing Pickford can do about it, and Everton have got all to do again.
Well, when they won on their last visit in February 21, it was the first points at Goodison that they'd actually picked up since a goalless draw in September 1959 under the then manager Bedford Jezard. What a wonderful name that is. He actually took charge over 300 games for Fulham from 1958 to 1965. But Bedford Jezard, since those days they had a dreadful run. In fact, their only other league win before 2021, or their only other victory, was actually in an FA Cup tie 1975. So it really hasn't been a happy hunting ground for them at all. But they're looking for back-to-back wins. 2-1, and a bit of a body blow as far as Everton are concerned, because Everton have been carrying a threat.
Yeah, you know, since Everton got before they got the goal back to make it 1-1, Everton have been the better side. They looked really confident. They've come back out in the second half, and the real thought around here was, obviously local fans would feel this way, that the more likely team to score was Everton, and they did start the second half well, but caught on the break once again. And you cannot turn off in the Premier League against decent players. And as I say, you talk about the cross, you'll talk about the goal scorer. It's the intelligence of Willian there, to know not to have a lash at it, to know to pick out his mate with a cutback. Brilliant.
And a first-time finish from Harry Wilson, the player who's been booed purely because of his Liverpool connections. Grimsby have equalised at home to Mansfield in League Two. Watford have just gone 2-0 up at home to Bristol City in the Championship. But in the Premier League, Everton 1, Fulham 2 here. Palace are leading at Southampton by 1-0. Wolves are 1-0 up at home to Brentford. Tottenham 1, Bournemouth 1. And the latest from Stamford Bridge comes from John Southall.
Chelsea 1, Brighton 1, but it's all Brighton. Matoma down the left-hand side, played it into Enciso. His shot saved by Kepa. Chelsea making a triple change. Kovacic, Ziyech and James about to come on. Chelsea 1, Brighton 1.
Paulinho hooks the ball forward. Tete's after it, slides into the challenge against Mykolenko and wins a corner kick. Tete did ever so well there.
Yeah, he's kind of cruising just now, isn't he, Tete? He's come up the right-hand side there, and he lollops up there, and he doesn't look as if he's trying hard, but you have to work hard from right back to get up there. He's put the cross in before, but that's led to the goal. He's got a corner kick for his team.
And no real hurry to take the corner kick. Wilson and Willian will just jog their way over into the shadows of the main stand in this near right-hand side. Corner's now taken short. Wilson to Willian. They combine for that second goal. It's pulled back to Pereira. First time shot, moved in the air. Excellent save by Pickford. Somehow he's managed to turn the ball over. It was travelling and some from Pereira.
Do you know what? Willian right now, he's just taking control of this. He's such an intelligent player. Drags players towards him there. Short corner, but he knows all along that if he sees anyone on the edge of the box with a bit of space, he'll find them. He does. They almost got the third goal.
It's his 400th career appearance of his English career here today, as Willian with the outswinging corner, and Tosin arriving, can't keep it down. Header on the run over the top of the crossbar, out for a goal kick as Fulham attack the park stand end of the ground where that blue sky is. The sun continues to shine, but there's a problem here for Everton rather. Anthony Taylor, there is a player who's just down on his haunches, and so Sean Dyche, I think it's Godfrey on that far side.
He's not a player who's very lucky with injuries, is he?
No, he's
Godfrey
not.
He's a terrible time with injuries. Certainly, definitely was a head knock. You know, maybe as the corner is coming in there, the referee didn't see anything particular with it. He's not complaining too much, other than he's in a bit of pain. He's now sat down.
Yeah, he broke his leg on the opening day here at Goodison against Chelsea. Ben Godfrey.
I was at the game. It was horrible.
Yeah, dreadful time with injury. So there's a stoppage in play. We'll go to Molineux. Pat Murphy.
Still leading Wolves 1-0 against Brentford, courtesy of Da Costa, who's come out in the second half with strapping on his left knee. He nearly scored the second. Splendid point-blank save by Raya. They could have the penalty when Raya bundled over Totti, not given after checking with VAR. The Good Valley Wolves to leading Brentford 1-0.
Everton are going to make the change. What is fascinating about Fulham's season, a lot of their games involving Fulham have been settled by a 1-goal margin. 7 of the 29. They've won 8, they've lost 9. It's the joint most with Southampton. Godfrey, meanwhile, has gone straight down the tunnel. And so there's going to have to be a change. It looks like Patterson is the player who's going to be coming on. Another player who hasn't really been blessed with good fortune.
I watched him recently playing for Scotland, come on a substitute. Absolutely fabulous. I mean, just looking at him, you wonder why he's not getting much of an opportunity to play here. But Coleman's done a really decent job, and certainly Sean Dyche has accepted that Coleman, his experience has been needed. I thought he maybe got a start today with Coleman being injured, but no, Godfrey got the opportunity. So Patterson, finally, being third choice, gets on the field.
He's been out with a knee injury. He came off the bench late on at Old Trafford last weekend for the last 3 minutes. So Nathan Patterson, 21-year-old signed from Rangers, comes on, Scottish international, to replace Godfrey for Everton. Shrewsbury leading Portsmouth by 1-0 in League One. We're approaching the hour mark. Chelsea 1, Brighton 1, Southampton 0, Crystal Palace 1, Tottenham 1, Bournemouth 1. That's a delayed kickoff. It was 3:15 by the time they got underway in North London, and Wolves, as we just heard from Pat, are leading Brentford by 1-0. We'll be going racing at Aintree for the handicap chase at around, well, very, very soon. I'd have thought they were due off at 4:15. The Grand National, of course, the whole race live in its entirety with John Hunt and the team. The Grand National at 5:15 here on 5 Live. So no sports report, because after that we'll be straight into our next commentary of Manchester City against Leicester City, as Manchester City look for a 10th straight win. So they are already underway for that 4:15. You'll hear the closing stages of that race here on 5 Live. But it's 2-1 to Fulham. Pat Nevin.
Yeah, and just it's knocked Everton out of the stride, hasn't it? That goal. They were looking comfortable, confident. They started well. Obviously, Dyche had been in their ears at half-time. But since they've lost that goal, understandably, Fulham got a little bit more confidence about themselves. But Everton just haven't got the ball under control since then.
Free kick goes against Everton, free kick to Fulham. Because there's no sports report, by the way, all the reaction from today's games will be on the 5 Live Football Daily pod that'll be able to download from the usual outlets. Harrogate have got it back. Harrogate 2, Doncaster 2 is a latest score in League 2. You're up to date with the goals as they go in. You're listening to BBC Radio 5 Live. But it's the Fulham supporters, who, some of them bathing in the sunshine, who are making the noise here at Goodison so far. Their side leading by 2-1 as we approach the hour mark. What's the latest in West London, John Southall?
Chelsea 1, Brighton 1, but Brighton should be ahead, and Ciso did brilliantly down the left-hand side, cut in from the byline. His shot hit the inside of the post, ricocheted back out to Welbeck, 8 yards out, put it over the bar. In his defence, it did come to him very quickly. Chelsea 1, Brighton 1.
Thank you, John. Here is Ream. It's an early left-footed ball that Reed will try and get on there. Pickford almost carried the ball out of his penalty area, and then he had the awareness and the presence of mind to actually drop it right side of his penalty area, and then picked it back up again.
And then dribbled it back in. That's actually very impressive by Pickford. It's one of those ones where you say, well done there, good intelligence. However, had he made a mess of it, you'd have said, what are you doing out there? Because he was very far out in the right-hand side of his box.
52 caps for his country. Gareth Southgate's undisputed number 1. Here is Mykolenko, gives the ball away. Crowd's frustration is evident once again around us here at Goodison. Tete's ball inside. Wilson looking to release James. Flag stays down. Times his run well, right-hand side, level with the penalty area. It's Accrington 0, Fleetwood 3. Scott Brown's side have increased their lead. James meanwhile waits. Tete offers the supporting run. Now the Welsh international finds him, and then turns away from Damari Gray, still with the ball to his feet. Wilson, who's given Fulham the lead once again here. Just over an hour played. Back here they work it towards Ream, in the sunshine of the centre circle, in the Everton half, and now across towards Willian. Willian has Pereira making a run to the edge of the area, plays it back towards Robinson. The Olays now from the Fulham travelling support as we're going to go racing. It's the handicap chase. It's at Aintree. Here's John Hunt.
And they're down towards the last fence here. It's been a dramatic race in. Shake 'em Up Harry's being joined by Bow to Greatness and Midnight River close up as well. Only a small break then to Kinondo Kwetu, who's staying on. Shake 'em Up Harry veers off a true line, has been headed, and now Midnight River forges to the front. Harry Skelton looking like he's going to win his second big race of the day here, and the biggest one of all to come shortly, with Le Milos in the Grand National. Midnight River is home to beat Bouta Greatest and Kinondo Kwetu in third place.
I think I'm right in saying, John, that Bouta Greatness as well as Shake 'em Up Harry are both Harry Redknapp horses, am I not?
Yeah, absolutely, and Harry, of course, is part owner of Back on the Lash in the Grand National as well. He would have been getting very excited there, because Shake 'em Up Harry looked likely to win coming down towards the last, but he stopped quite quickly, I'm afraid.
OK, John now will go off, find a bunker somewhere at Aintree, and then study for the 40 runners and riders, although I'm sure he knows it all anyway. The best in the business, and with a Grand National at 5:15. Here is Willian. Willian's cross cleared away by Mikolenko. Pereira can't keep it down. It's a deflection on its way. They're appealing for handball as well. It's a goal kick. Gillingham 1, Stockport 0, the latest score in League 2. MK Dons 2, Cheltenham 1, Stevenage 2, Wimbledon 1, and Walsall are down to 10 men in League 2. Pat Nevin.
Willian is destroying Everton down that left-hand side. He's obviously up against a new player now, and Patterson's not got to the pace of the game yet, nowhere near it, and Willian senses that, and he's timing again. He's driving a man, he's laying passes back, he's getting in shooting positions. Willian's bordering on unstoppable at the moment.
Corner kick, far side to left, headed out by Mikolenko. Reed will retrieve that ball midway through the Everton half as Robinson sends a searching ball out towards Pereira, headed away though by Iwobi, tied it up by Everton back towards Pickford. Everton still trailing by 2-1. BBC Radio 5 Live. We're also live on the BBC Sounds app. BBC Sounds app will be absolutely perfect to listen to the Grand National if you're out and about, the 175th Grand National that's coming up. As soon as we're done with the football, we'll be back with Mark Chapman at Aintree. But here, Everton have got a lot of work to do.
Well, they've got a lot of work to do, because Fulham are having by a distance the best period they've had in the game. Yes, since they scored the goal near the start of the second half, they have utterly dominated this game. They've passed it well, they've moved it well, they've actually looked half a yard quicker, just about every man in the team. So whether that is just the manager having a word with them, or just they fancied a little bit of game of football, but they have played very well in the second half.
Everton are still trailing by 2-1. Southampton were behind 1-0. There's been another goal. Jonathan Overend.
They're now behind 2-0 and surely now going down. Is this the goal that guarantees Palace safety? A second of the day for Eberechi Eze. Beautiful strike from the edge of the box, right-footed. Southampton heads are down. Southampton 0, Palace 2.
3 successive wins for Roy Hodgson. Willian charging forward for Fulham. Man over on that far side is Anthony Robinson. Cross on the run low into the penalty area. Turned behind by Gay. Out behind for a corner kick. Dundee United have equalised at Fir Park. Motherwell 1, Dundee United 1. Pat Nevin.
Again, left-hand side is Willian. Every time he gets the ball, he makes 40, 50, 60 yards. By the time he passes the ball or drags a player towards him, he's well inside the 18-yard line. Everton can do nothing against him. I'm looking at Sean Dyche. He must be thinking, I've got to double up on him. But he can't bring another defender on because he needs to score a goal. I think he'll need to make changes though, Dyche.
Well, at the minute, Steve Stone and Ian Woan are all in a line down in their technical area, but Fulham are playing with a lot of menace at the moment. It's a corner kick. It's headed out by Tarkowski, drops to Pereira on the half volley down into the ground, headed out by Idrissa Gueye, only as far as Robinson, 10 yards forward of the centre circle. Those changes look imminent, judging by the body language of Sean Dyche, as Harrison Reed sends over across to Pereira, caught in possession by Iwobi, up towards McNeil, but Fulham are working hard to win the ball back, and Dan James now darts forward on that left-hand side for Fulham. Fulham with James, first cross was blocked, comes towards James, tries to roll it into the path of Willian, and Everton are able to clear, but Fulham just looks sharper to every ball at the moment, and Fulham win it once again. Willian sent scampering clear. Right hand side, back towards Tete, level with the penalty area. In comes the cross now, claimed by Pickford. Goal at Tottenham, Henry Moran.
Bournemouth have turned it around. It's Spurs 1, Bournemouth 2. Dominic Solanke with his 6th of the season. The ball broke to him in the Spurs penalty area. A little chip over Hugo Lloris, and from nowhere Bournemouth have taken the lead. Spurs 1, Bournemouth 2.
Well, that really would be a surprise, and that would take Bournemouth to 33 points.
That's extraordinary, by the way, because that is now put everything in the melting pot again in Bournemouth, who thought they were going to be left behind. Well, Everton are right down beside them now.
Crystal Palace are kicking clear. Bournemouth are picking up. Wolves could kick clear, but there's been another goal at Molineux, Pat Murphy.
And there's another goal for Wolves. They lead 2-0 against Bournemouth. An excellent team play, but finally stabbed in by the substitute Hwang Hee-chan from 5 yards. They deserve this. Wolves 2, Brentford 0.
So Wolves 2, Brentford 0, Tottenham 1, Bournemouth 2, Southampton 0, Crystal Palace 2, Chelsea 1, Brighton 1, and Fulham lead here by 2-1. There's been another goal at Ibrox, ready for sight.
And St Mirren are back level again, and once again it's Mark O'Hara, and once again it's a volley. It may have taken a little deflection en route to the net, but what it has done is rendered Ibrox a very quiet ground. Rangers 2, St Mirren 2.
Thank you, Roddy. Earlier, Hibs 1, Hearts 0. Well, Pat, for a long time there were 9 clubs down at the bottom in the relegation fight, but with Palace now on 36, I think it's safe to say we can discount Roy Hodgson's side as James brings the ball down very, very well. Oh, what a lovely finish from Dan James. Excellent control. Everton remain in deep trouble because James has just increased Fulham's lead by 3-1. It was an excellent first touch, and the finish wasn't bad either.
Yeah, brilliantly played. You know, he's got lots and lots of pace, and everybody knows about his pace, but that was technique. He's gone, he's took it in his right foot because it's come over his shoulder, so you don't expect him to be in complete control of the ball, but he was. Turns inside his man and he just rolls it past Pickford there as if he's playing a little bit of a training game. Sean Dyche had been trying to make a change in the team for about 7 or 8 minutes. He hummed and hawed and he thought about it and he waited, and he's waited too long. It's 3-1 now, and it's a long, long way back. Right now, the one thing I would say about Everton, in terms of pure fitness, you look a long way behind Fulham, who look miles ahead of them, who look sprightly as anything. Everton look out on their feet.
It was a touch off the right foot. It was finished off his left. Accrington 1, Fleetwood 3, Swansea 1, Huddersfield 0. That's in the Championship. There's been another goal in the Premier League. This time it's at Stamford Bridge. John Southall.
What a goal. Chelsea 1, Brighton 2, and Cissé picked the ball up 25 yards out and absolutely thumped it into the top left-hand corner in front of the Brighton fans. They have never won in the league at Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 1, Brighton 2.
And for Frank Lampard, that would be a 3rd straight defeat on his return for his 2nd spell in charge for the former Everton manager. Everton themselves here, however, have, they've got a lot to do in 20 minutes that remain, or just over.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a moment at the start of the second half. These Evertonians here, they were smiling, they were singing, they had real belief. The grumps and the moans that they'd had after 20 minutes, understandable moaning, they'd all gone away. There was almost a party atmosphere, and then you look at it now and they look so far second at best against a team that have lifted themselves, but also 1 or 2 players in particular. And as I say that, Willian gets the ball, controls it and plays a beautiful ball into the right.
And Tete will get there before Damari Gray. Incidentally, Gay was the player who went off for Tom Davis, and Damari Gray is just going to get a yellow card for that free kick. Let's get the team news from our next commentary. It's after the Grand National, Manchester City, Leicester. John Murray.
Well, Mahrez, Walker and Laporte are back in for Manchester City. They make 3 changes from midweek. Gundogan, Ake and Akanji are all on the bench, and Dean Smith rings the Leicester changes, 4 of them. Tielemans returns as captain, but also formation as well. Looks like 3 central defenders, with Soyuncu and Suter coming in, and Dewsbury Hall as well, also back in the team after suspension.
Leicester, we saw them last weekend. They were absolutely dreadful. John will be joined by Paul Robinson, commentary from the Etihad after the Grand National that's coming up, so there's no sports report. The big race is off at 5:15. You'll hear it here on BBC Radio 5 Live. West Brom have just equalised at Stoke. Stoke 1, West Brom 1. Meanwhile, a free kick from the right-hand side taken by Pereira, swings in front of the goal. Out it goes then towards the Fulham support. Willian keeps the ball in play on the Fulham left, who lead by 3-1. Back towards Reed, just outside the centre circle. Right-footed ball towards Dan James, who took that goal ever so well, his third since he's arrived on that loan from Leeds United, as now it's with Pereira. In fact, there's been another goal at Portman Road. Martin Fisher.
Another goal for Ipswich, another goal for Connor Chaplin, his first ever hat-trick for Ipswich Town, his 26th goal of the season, 3-0.
Remember, Plymouth went to the top of the table earlier with that 1-0 win away at Exeter, and Sheffield Wednesday still trailing at Burton Albion by 3-1, so Plymouth would be top with 86, Ipswich 85, Sheffield Wednesday 84, and Barnsley, who are winning at Forest Green, who'll be relegated today, they're on 81 and still in the mix. And from an Everton point of view, they're still in the mix at the wrong end of the table in the Premier League.
Do you know what? Not only at the wrong end of the table, the wrong end of the pitch. Ian, when's the last time Everton were actually up at the other end of the field attacking, putting any chances in? It's been about 15 minutes since they got out their own half. It's amazing how, well, they're just been dominated completely by Fulham now.
Dundee United have come from behind at Fir Park. Motherwell 1, Dundee United 2. There's been another goal at Forest Green. Sahel Sahi.
Yeah, it's gone to the home side in a consolation. Forest Green 1, Barnsley 4. Superb effort from 25 yards out from Reece Brown. Forest Green 1, Barnsley 4.
Dan James, full of running, makes a run towards the right hand side of the penalty area, lifts the ball high into the box, and Patterson almost runs it in towards Pereira, but actually plays it away towards Garner. And Sims is going to be coming on for Everton. Sean Dyche is going to make another change as Damari Gray is sent scampering clear but can't keep the ball in play, and it's out for a throw. Pat Nevin.
Yeah, and Sean Dyche is trying to push his team forward, but there's such a confidence about this Fulham side. You know, in the first half, I have to say I wasn't over impressed when they were 1-0 up. They were doing okay, but in the second half, yeah, very impressed by Fulham. Certainly one of the best games they've played since Mitrovic has gone out.
Yeah, and their losing sequence is going to be ending here today as it stays like this as McNeil scoops the ball. Mopé is forced out wide. Mopé, who was linked with Fulham before he actually joined Everton, plays it back towards Iwobi, and Leno makes a very good save. Iwobi on the run, hits it first time, edge of the area, right-footed. Leno diving away to his right, spoons it behind for a corner kick.
Oh, long overdue. Finally got a little bit of a break when they play it into Mopé. Very good at holding it up, and Iwobi made the effort to get there. That was, I think, going into the corner of the net there. Keeper had to get it, bouncing as it reached him, so it's a very good save.
So whilst this change takes place here at Everton, we will go to, where will we go next? It's a goal at Millwall. Charlotte Richardson.
Millwall 2, Preston 0. After an uncomfortable period of Preston pressure, Millwall take out the sting, and it's Zian Fleming who doubles the host leads. A composed finish on the half volley. Millwall 2, Preston 0.
Well, Preston have been going so well before that. They'd won 5 of their last 6 as the corner in comes now. Headed out by Leno, only as far as Patterson. And the ball then out towards Iwobi. Iwobi with the cross, and the header from Keane is easily saved by Leno. That delayed kick-off at Tottenham. What's the latest? Henry Moran.
Coming towards the hour mark, Spurs 1, Bournemouth 2. A slightly unfortunate moment for Davinson Sanchez. Came on as a substitute in the first half, but booed as he was taken off. Responsible in part for both of the Bournemouth goals. Disappointing day for him. Disappointing day so far for Spurs. Spurs 1, Bournemouth 2.
Another disappointing day for Neil Mopé. 22 games without a goal now. His worst run in English football continues. Sims has replaced him, and Sims straight away lays it out towards that far side, the right, but Patterson couldn't get any elevation off the cross on that right hand side. It goes back towards the Scottish international for an Everton side that remains in trouble with 15 minutes remaining, still trailing by 3-1. Iwobi towards Patterson. Will they set us up for a grandstand finish by getting a goal back towards McNeil? Left-footed shot blocked, comes out towards Garner, who hits it first time over 25 yards out from goal. Right-footed Leno well positioned with the save.
Well, he does the right thing there by keeping it on target. Lots of players would panic there. He didn't. He kept it on target. Problem was it went through a ruck of players, but it went straight to the goalkeeper there. I think he was hoping for a deflection, didn't get one.
There was a block. I think it might have been Reed who got the block in, and he's actually stayed down. Such was the ferocity of the shot from McNeil. He certainly did his job, did Harrison Reed. Incidentally, in the National League, and I know there's a lot of interest in Wrexham Notts County on Bank Holiday Monday, and what a win it was for Phil Parkinson's side. They played them in most of the second half with 10 men today away at Barnet. They picked up a 0-0 draw, so it means that their destiny remains in their own hands. They require 6 points from their remaining 3 games. Notts County play a little later on today, so that's in the National League. Lake Norrie won't be getting promoted today from League 2. Forest Green will be relegated. They're losing heavily at home to Barnsley, and Burnley's title confirmation in the Championship is also on hold after Sheffield United's 4-1 win against Cardiff City at lunchtime today. Back into the Premier League we go. Southampton Crystal Palace, Jonathan Overend.
Palace fans haven't stopped singing this afternoon. They're loving this. Their side leads 2-0 here at Southampton, surely securing safety. Ederici Eze at the double. Southampton at least have created a couple of chances since the second. Alcaraz has hit the bar. Johnson's saved smartly from Bella Kotchap. It's Southampton 0, Palace 2.
14 minutes remain. Future looks bleak for Southampton. Not exactly rosy for Everton, as they're still trailing by 3-1. But for Crystal Palace, for Bournemouth and Wolves, it certainly looks a lot brighter with the results that they've achieving so far this afternoon. Live on BBC Radio 5 Live, Tom Kearney is going to be coming on very, very soon for Fulham, as Tosin hits the ball low downfield, laid off by James. Reed's forward ball, Pereira. There's a real zip about Fulham's play. Robinson joins the attack from left back, and it's turned behind for a corner kick.
It's just the ease in which Fulham go through the gears there in the midfield. There seems to be so many gaps. Yes, football gets much easier for you when you're ahead and everybody wants the ball, and it's just a simple game when you're doing it like that. But for Everton, it's so frustrating because they've had one or two breaks in the second half. Apart from that, total domination by Fulham.
And it's a corner kick to Fulham, still leading by 3-1 in front of the park end of the ground here at Goodison. Willian rolls it towards Reed. Reed's on the edge of the area, floats it towards Tosin, far post, challenges with Keane, plays the ball in low on the stretch. Tarkowski towards James, who drags it wide, first time right foot, out for a goal kick. Another goal at Ipswich, Martin Fisher.
This one hasn't been scored by Connor Chaplin though, Ian. This one's gone to Freddie Ladbapo, who's only just come off the bench. Ipswich 4, Charlton 0.
Should say as well that Tom Kearney, who's going to be coming on here, nice touch from Fulham. Tom Kearney, Tim Ream and Marco Silva, as part of Fulham, went to the other side of Stanley Park, to the Hillsborough Memorial, to show their respects from Fulham Football Club, to lay a wreath last night when they arrived from London here on Merseyside yesterday evening. De Cordova, Reed and Kearney are going to be coming on for a Fulham side that, well, they've got 12 minutes to go, Pat Nevin.
Well, classy and considerate of Fulham there, what they did, and also they played very classily in this second half, and what a lovely time to go into a game of football. Your team's 3-1 up. They're only there about 12 minutes to go. They're playing very well. They're getting lots of time and space in the ball, and they're creating chances. If you're an Everton fan, which is an interesting one, I'm sure we'll have discussions about this as time goes by. It's been quiet. The moans and groans have stopped. They're not moaning and groaning at the manager. They're actually almost as if they're putting up with it from the players. But this looks like an Everton team that are well beaten at the moment, but you never know. One goal could change it all.
Tom Kearney has replaced Pereira. That was one of the changes, as Mikalenko goes in very, very hard on Wilson. And referee Anthony Taylor had a good view of that. Whilst he looks at this, we're going to go to Reading. Aaron Paul.
Reading 0, Burnley 0. Reading still holding firm in this new 4-4-2 system brought in by Noel Hunt. Burnley, though, and Vincent Kompany has brought on some of the big boys. Anas Zaroury and Ashley Barnes are on as they look to break the deadlock. Reading 0, Burnley 0.
And the other change was De Cordova Reed coming on for Harry Wilson. Just a yellow card was shown to the Ukrainian international Mikalenko. So these are the latest scores in League 2. Carlisle 0, Northampton 0. Crawley 2, Tranmere 1, Crewe 2, Walsall 0, Gillingham 1, Stockport 0, Grimsby 1, Mansfield 1, Harrogate 2, Doncaster 2, Newport County 2, Hartlepool United 0. That will be the end of John Askey's 8-match unbeaten run for Hartlepool. Rochdale 0, Bradford City 2. Mark Hughes' side really going very, very well. They'll be, unbeaten in 11 now, as they still look for automatic promotion. Salford 0, Colchester 1, Stevenage 2, Wimbledon 1, Sutton 0, Lake Norient 2, Swindon 0, Barrow 0. We'll give you League 1 in a moment.
Yeah, just watching the way the game has been controlled, really controlled very, very well by Fulham. When Everton looked as if they could get going a little bit there, just killed it off, didn't they? And just got players went down injured. By the way, I'm not sure it was Wilson went off. I think it is Willian it went off instead of Wilson.
Yeah, it was his 400th career appearance. Looks like might well in England end in 3 points. There's been a goal at Ibrox, ready for side.
And it's Alfredo Morelos who's got it. The Rangers fans very happy with that. It was a cross ball into the box. He swiveled and turned and shot into the net, but I wonder if there's going to be a VAR replay, because from my view I think there may have been a suspicion of handball, but at the moment it's Rangers 3, St Mirren 2.
We're giving you the latest scores in League 2, the results in the early games in League 1. Exeter 0, Plymouth 1, Cambridge 2, Peterborough United 0. These are the latest scores. Accrington 1, Fleetwood 3, Bristol Rovers 0, Derby 1, Burton 3, Sheffield Wednesday 1, Forest Green 1, Barnsley 4. Forest Green will be relegated. Ipswich 4, Charlton 0, Lincoln 2, Port Vale 2. And it's MK Dons 2, Cheltenham 1, Morecambe 0, Wickham 0, Oxford 0, Bolton 1. Shrewsbury still lead Portsmouth by a goal to 0. Pompey's 6-match unbeaten run will be coming to an end. Pat Nevin. And it doesn't look as if Everton got much of a plan here. Now I've made a couple of changes. Sims, he's up there at centre forward, you know, he's a big strong lad, so you've got to feed him, you've got to give him the ball, you've got to give him something to run towards. Everton playing out from the back there, and it's very un-Dyche like football, and by the time they try and get out front, Sims is completely and utterly controlled. Reed's gone down again. Yes. Maybe the second or third time he's gone down. Everton fans are disappointed by it, but not fuming and angry. This is feeling of resignation, isn't it? Total resignation. You take the word out of my mouth there, and it's kind of shocking to hear that. It's really shocking to hear that and see that here with Everton fans, because there's a lot of spaces beginning to be shown in the far side there. That is really worrying for Everton. Giving up almost this near the end of the season. Well, let's get, before I give you the latest scores in the Championship, we'll get a quick update from Blackpool. Ellen Ellard.
Yeah, Blackpool 1, Wigan 0. Stop-start second half. Wigan, though, working so hard. Ashley Fletcher has had a shot for central just inside the box save. Salo Asgard has seen a headed effort drop onto the roof of the net. Still, Jerry Yates' 2-minute strike, the difference. Worth saying, as much as Wigan throw at this game, a draw today really doesn't help either team's fight for survival. Blackpool 1, Wigan 0. Well, the result earlier on was Sheffield United 4, Cardiff City 1. These are the latest scores. Apart from that one at Bloomfield Road. Millwall 2, Preston 0, QPR 0, Coventry 1, Reading 0, Burnley 0, Rotherham 0, Luton 2, Stoke 1, West Bromwich Albion 2, Sunderland 2, Birmingham 1, Swansea lead Huddersfield by a goal to 0, and Watford are going to get their first win in 5 as they lead Bristol City by 2 goals to 0. Blackburn Hull City is an evening kick-off at 7:45. It remains Fulham leading Everton by 3 goals to 1, Chelsea 1, Brighton 2, Southampton 0, Crystal Palace 2, Tottenham 1, Bournemouth 2, Wolves 2, Brentford 0. Elsewhere in the Premier League, as Iwobi makes a run forward on this left-hand side towards Davis, and Davis runs it out for a goal kick. So we will go to Lee Blakeman watching the leaders of League 2, Leyton Orient.
Sutton 0, Leyton Orient 2. Orient have been in control all afternoon here, but Bradford winning at Rochdale means the promotion celebrations are going to be on hold for now. Sutton 0, Leyton Orient 2.
Another goal at Ibrox, ready for side. It's a VAR festival here, but after the latest re-examination of a Morelos shot which found the net behind Carson, it's been judged to be onside. There was originally a flag up on the far side. So Rangers 2 and 2 minutes from Morelos now lead 4-2 against St Mirren. And elsewhere in the Scottish Premiership, Dundee United could be moving to within a point of Kilmarnock. They've come from behind at Fir Park. They lead Motherwell 2-1, Livingston 2, St Johnstone 0, and Hibs 1, Hearts 0 was the result in the Edinburgh derby in the early kick-off. And Fulham here have just made a change, and no surprise that Reed was unable to continue, and so Sasa Lukic, the tall Serbian midfielder, comes on to replace him. I must have done all my research wrong. I thought he was suspended today, so I must have got that one wrong. So he's come on there, and they don't look concerned, do they, Fulham? They look completely, utterly in control of it. They're not worried about it. You know, for a team that hasn't been playing that well recently, a team that's without Mitrovic, a team that has lost a whole bunch of games, and is it 5 in a row? They've lost 4 in the league anyway. 5 in all competitions, you're right. It's not a good run, yet they have played this second half as if they're a league above Everton. That prep didn't go to waste, as Fulham are attacking and looking for more goals with De Cordova-Reid. But normally here at Goodison Park there'd be it's a rousing end. A feeling of anger, if nothing else. An anger around the place, but B, a rousing end to the game, you know, when you get ahead of steam up. But that third goal to make it 3-1
I just don't think there's any belief in this place. I don't think there's any belief on the pitch either. And it's very... Wait a minute, chance.
Feeling of worry. Wilson with a first-time shot. That was blocked, picked up by Lukic, who tries to place it high in the top left corner. Saved by Jordan Pickford. Another goal at Burton. Nikesh Regani.
Yeah, we could be in for a big finish here. Sheffield Wednesday pulling one back. It's now Burton 3, Sheffield Wednesday 2. It came courtesy of a penalty after a foul on Marvin Johnson. Michael Smith with the spot kick, making no mistake. 3 minutes left. It's Burton 3, Sheffield Wednesday 2.
And there's been another goal at Portman Road. Martin.
Connor Chaplin got a hat-trick. Freddie Ladapo off the bench has already scored 2. Is there time for him to complete a hat-trick? 5-0 Ipswich.
So Ipswich second, Sheffield Wednesday third, Plymouth top after their lunchtime win at Exeter. Elsewhere, we're up to date. Accrington 2, Fleetwood 3. Accrington have just got a goal back in League One. Accrington 2, Fleetwood 3, and Port Vale have had another player sent off. They're down to 9 now at Sincil Bank in that 2-2 draw at Lincoln City. But 4 minutes remaining, and it's still Fulham who lead comfortably, it's got to be said, by 3-1.
And it's just petering out. If you're an Everton fan, it's it's petered out. They've not really pushed it. Certainly the manager's tried to make a few changes, but the comfort and the confidence on the ball that Fulham have had, and they stepped up when they needed to. They've managed the game really well, and they come out in the second half, realised where the problems were after the change in system, and they haven't looked back since.
Vinicius is going to be coming on for Fulham. You've got Palace winning and moving on to 36, Wolves winning, moving to 34. Bournemouth are taking a significant step towards safety in that delayed kick-off, still leading 2-1 at Tottenham. It's going to mean that Southampton are still rooted to the bottom with 23 points. Leicester, who play in the evening game, 25. Forest, who play tomorrow afternoon for their home game against Manchester United on 5 Live from 4:30 on 27. And Everton still on 27. Leeds play on Monday night. It could be for a long time that we've talked about 3 from 9. Looks like it might well be 3 from 5, 3 from 6.
Yeah, but we'll try to work out how many will be enough points. I think most people are looking at about 36 at the moment. 36 is looking a long way away from Everton.
That's still back West Ham to survive as well. That's why I said 3-5, 3 from 5. Another goal at Forest Green, Sahel Sahi.
A 5th for Barnsley, Ian. Forest Green 1, Barnsley 5. Devante Cole with the goal. Forest Green are heading back down to League 2. Their first ever season in League 1's coming to an end. Forest Green 1, Barnsley 5.
QPR 0, Coventry 2. Troubling times for QPR. Portsmouth have equalised at Shrewsbury 1-1. Morecambe have got a late goal. They're leading Wickham by 1-0. Everton are attacking through Sims. Once had that lone spell at Hearts, of course, earlier in his career, but a lot of the Everton supporters are drifting for the exits. They pull it up towards Iwobi, teed up towards Garner, hits it first time, just off target, goal kick. Talking of Scotland, another goal at Rangers, ready for side.
And St Mirren have collapsed. They looked as though they were holding on for the point that would keep them in the top 6, but another goal, this time by Scott Arfield after a perfect pass by Todd Cantwell, split the back line, and it's now Rangers 5, St Mirren 2, and who says that's the end?
Let's get an update from Reading, Aaron Paul.
Burnley now down to 10 men, and Manuel Benson has come off through injury. Vincent Kompany has used all of his subs. We're into 5 minutes of added time. A goal for Reading here takes them out of the bottom 3 at Cardiff's expense. Can they grab it? Reading 0, Burnley 0.
Thank you, Aaron. Carlos Vinicius coming on. James, who took that 3rd goal ever so well.
Well, and he almost got a 4th just when we were away there. Down the left-hand side, usual searing pace. And I got to the byline. Instead of cutting it back, he had a shot along the byline. It went between the goalkeeper and the goal and went straight across the goal there. Could quite easily have been 4-1, and I don't think Everton could have complained about that.
Charlton are down to 10 men in League One. Ryan Innes has been sent off for Dean Holden's side there, as Fulham still leading by 3-1 here on BBC Radio 5 Live. The 175th Grand National is coming up, the race in its entirety here on BBC Radio 5 Live. So if you've just come back from shopping, or you're in the car, or you've just left the football match a little bit earlier, don't go anywhere. It's coming up as we'll be at Aintree in 6 minutes time, because that's the amount of stoppage time that we've got here, and it could be 60, and you wouldn't think that Everton are going to score in the second half.
And quite a few fans booed. If you look to your right hand side, I would say the stand's getting close to half empty with 6 minutes to go. And I was on Football Focus earlier on today, and the question was asked, what do Everton need? One word: fight. Not really seen it, have we?
No.
We haven't seen it.
No. Queen's Park Rangers have conceded a third. Noel Hunt in charge. No, so that's Reading. Queen's Park Rangers 1 win in 18. It'll be 1 win in 19 as they're 3-0 down now to Coventry City. QPR 0, Coventry 3 is Gareth Ainsworth has got it all to do there in the Championship for Queen's Park Rangers, who are just a point outside the relegation zone as it stands. Southampton, they're bottom of the Premier League. They're at home to Crystal Palace. Jonathan O'Brien.
Yeah, sounds like we've got a very similar picture here in a half-empty stadium. Well, that's being generous. Southampton trailing Palace 2-0. Could have been 3. Elise has just hit the post. Palace, great day for them. 2-0 up.
Pat.
You get the feeling here that the Everton fans that are waiting behind are waiting for a good boo at the end. Problem is, it's who they're actually having a dig at. Is it the players? Is it the ownership? It's not the manager, I don't think. I think they're still behind. You look down there, Sean Dyche, and it looks as if he's put in as many miles as the players today. It's a very, very worrying time. In fact, Everton right now at this point in time look as if they're sleepwalking towards relegation.
Well, it'll be 4 without a win. It'll be 2 points from a possible 12 for Everton. Their lowest ever points return at this stage of the season in their Premier League history. The 10 men of Lincoln have got a late goal against the 9 men of Port Vale. Lincoln 3, Port Vale 2 is a latest score. And Tom Flanagan has been sent off for Shrewsbury, who are drawing 1-1 at home to Portsmouth in League One. Chelsea 1, Brighton 2, remember. Southampton 0, Palace 2. Tottenham 1, Bournemouth 2. That game, though, didn't get underway till 3:15. And Wolves are leading Brentford by 2-0. That would be a third straight defeat for Thomas Frank's side, and 5 without a win. Brentford just starting to tail off at this stage of the season. But for Fulham, well, their losing run is coming to an end, and Forest Green are relegated. Sahel Sahi.
Yes, back to League Two. They finished here 5-1 to Barnsley, Ian, after their first ever season in the third tier. Forest Green go back down to League Two. Full time here, it's ended Forest Green 1, Barnsley 5.
Kearney runs into the penalty area right hand side. Kearney back heels the ball then to Tete. They've been the sharper, the stronger, the more productive side second half.
But also more quality on top of it. And, you know, the fight that we were talking about, that energy, that fight, that's coming from the players in white shirts today, not from the players in blue shirts. Players in blue shirts look as if they do not believe just now, and that is an extraordinary worrying thing. I remember there's Barry Horn sitting along from us today. I remember the day when he almost saved them from going down. It was against Wimbledon.
Yeah.
This place was rocking that day. I think I was doing the commentary here for 5 Live, and honestly, I'd never have dreamt I'd have seen this and heard the quietness of this and the acceptance of this from Everton fans. They really don't look as if they believe.
Well, we said the word resignation earlier. I'd say apathy now. I mean, look at the empty blue seats around Goodison Park.
Most of them, I think, have got their ears probably listening, hoping to get the Grand National off as soon as possible. That's probably what I'm thinking about more than anything else, thinking, well, we should have gone there instead.
Well, that Park End, away towards our right-hand side, is not even half full.
Oh, miles away from it.
Goodison Park is a stadium that is emptying at a rapid rate of knots. And the games that remain for Everton: Palace away, Newcastle at home, Leicester away, Brighton away, Manchester City at home, Wolves away, and Bournemouth at home on the final day of the season. And Fulham, after 5 straight defeats in all competitions, have ended their winning run and are seeing this out, well, using horse racing parlance, at a canter.
Yeah, just cruising to the end. Got a lot of chance for Everton to put the ball in the middle. Now they're not particularly well organised with it.
In fact, you could even say it's at a trot, as Garner goes in for a flying volley on the right-hand side, and that acrobatic effort sailed over the top of the crossbar. But
I did not see this coming today. I really didn't see it coming. The expectation is the one thing I would see is the one thing that I haven't seen in this second half. And I mean, I tell you now, if Everton play like this to the end of the season, they're going down. Full stop. They will go down, and it's up to Sean Dyche to make sure they don't. I'll say one thing about it: the midfield that they've relied on hasn't been here today. You know, Doucouré, Onana, they had Gay in there, but without those 3 in the midfield and that spirit and that fight and that understanding, they look a long way off a Premier League side.
Well, Doucouré serving the second of a 3-match ban. He'll still be missing the game away at Crystal Palace next weekend. I think the referee's just shown a yellow card for time wasting. That might have been to Leno, but
maybe a little bit of sort of lip possibly there from Beato.
There's a yellow card definitely shown from Anthony Taylor, but we're in 5.5 minutes of stoppage time now. There was 6 to be added on.
Nothing has happened, has there?
A damaging defeat.
In 6 minutes, nothing has happened. And by the way, in the 15 or 20 before that, nothing happened either.
And here is Wilson on a partial clearance. De Cordova-Reid sends over the cross. Kearney brings it down, tries to get it onto his left foot. And there is the full-time whistle. Back-to-back wins at Goodison Park for Fulham, but a damaging defeat as far as Everton are concerned. That's 1 win in 8. They've collected 6 points out of a possible 24, and they remain deep in trouble as Marco Silva makes a winning return to Goodison Park.
First of all, well done Fulham. I mean, they've had their problems as well with injuries and players missing, but they turned it on when they needed to, and their timing was absolutely superb in the second half, and Willian in particular really turned on the class as he limps onto the park at the end here. However, the story here is Everton Football Club, and I don't think in all the years they've gone close to relegation before. This is by a long distance, the closest, and if they play like that, the way they did in the second half today, they will be playing Championship football next year.
Well, Reid gave Fulham a lead. It was cancelled out by McNeil 10 minutes before half-time, but second half goals from Wilson and James giving Fulham a comfortable win. And Mark, there isn't really a feeling of anger inside Goodison Park. Instead, there's a feeling of apathy. Everton 1, Fulham 3.